I think that speaks volumes. I mean, Elevate's ratty. They're hard to read.
You can't plan against them, and that's the simple thing is when you come into the international events, most teams have support staff structures that prepare a map plan, that prepare an individual game plan, how we're going to set up defenses against certain takes. When Elevate just have that kind of inconsistency themselves that they dictate, they want to be difficult to read, and they can just come up with any strat and just do it on the fly. All of that goes out the window, and all you've got to focus on when you go against Elevate is yourself, because you can't prepare against them.
This will be very important at the bottom of the screens right now, Jackie. This is what I'm most focused on, is what is going to be the battlefield for both of these teams, because the very first thing I would have banned if I was FaZe going up against the ratty team is Coastline, and that is the first ban. So well done, FaZe. You've checked that list off to go get rid of the most ratty map you can go to, and well, Bank being the first map, a FaZe map.
FaZe love Bank. Elevate, also they've liked Kafe, they played it very well earlier. Villa as the decider is an awkward one, because I thought Elevate might choose to go to Oregon. It's where they won out earlier against Rogue. However, they should have lost it, so I see why they've decided to bin off Oregon and go to Villa, even though it's not a high preference map for themselves.
I like this. I like Kafe as well. I think if we're looking at this, I would expect FaZe, the FaZe we know, if we're quantifying beyond this event, to probably win the first two maps. Unfortunately so. And I know we were speaking about Villa and we're talking about Elevate getting that second pick there. I still think FaZe is such a high tier team, and they're just, this inconsistency isn't them, and maybe this kick to the lower bracket is a real wake up call for them.
Okay, Fresh and Jess, thank you so much for your excellent analysis. As always, our teams are ready to go. So who's winning and who's heading home? FaZe versus Elevate. But first, apparently I tossed a Fluke and Emmy a couple days ago, so let's toss the Stein and Hap today. Take it away. Let's go.
I'm actually surprised my name was pronounced quite well there. It is not very often that I hear my name said in the correct way. It's normally Stygian.
Can't believe I have to leave this time. I don't want to go because it's going to be such a good game.
It's such a good game. We might see Inagiri break his own kill record.
We might.
We might not as well. I mean, it's a very important game.
Fun fact, that OGA game, you cast as well.
I casted that as well. Yeah.
And we both cast the best of 3 kill record game.
Of Citizen, which was 56 against
So
PDS.
you have cast every kill record game.
Well, not a best of 5, because I've not done a best of 5 cast yet.
But if you did,
I mean, who knows?
We're just saying. We're just saying. If Hap's on the cast, there's a likelihood a record's going to get broken.
At some point it will, again. I mean, who knows? Maybe even today. Either way.
Imagine if you back-to-back kill records.
It's like 27. That's not enough. I'm now tied, as they said on the socials.
Tied, but spelled like Thailand.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go for 28. Straight in the first map. And then he's like, you know what? Let me do it twice and break Citizen's kill record as well, too. So that's going to be the goal, I think. He's just ripping out pages of your booklet now.
Yeah, I wrote in the wrong place.
Oh.
I accidentally, because I had my notes there for the FaZe Elevate stuff. Yep. And then I have my ban, and I started doing Bank, which is where we're going first. And where we'll be in just a second. But I wrote it in the wrong place. You know, I'm the only... Here's a fun fact.
You're the only analog caster.
I'm the only analog caster. And Parker, everybody has Parker's method. He describes it as his method.
Yeah, but I changed it, and he actually said it was a good change.
Here's another fun fact. Any fans of Desertu Derry Holt out there, did you know he plays toggle aim?
He plays toggle aim?
He plays toggle aim, which we noticed playing together the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And, you know.
Why would you play? Like, how does that even work? You're not going to be able to strafe to the left in that case.
I know.
That is ridiculous.
He's a toggle aimer.
Okay, well,
that's another problem. If you have any questions...
Everybody has the preferences, I guess.
Direct them at him.
Armband, okay.
Flores, gone. Hibana, gone. Makes sense. The removal of Hibana obviously limits some of those long-distance breaks. You're looking at hatches, you're looking at the control there. It's pretty standard. The Kaid as that fight against it with hatches. Yep, the Flores has a drive. He has jobs he can do on this map.
I mean, I'm just going to say there has been some issues in the previous Elevate match with opening up some walls.
Yeah, they weren't brilliant at it.
No, somehow still managed to get away with a win. So it says something about their gun skill in the end. Mirror being removed. It's going to be that final ban we'll see here, at least in that one. There is going to be potentially 2 more. Now, I have a very tough time trying to figure out how this map and match is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I said to Demo, because Demo is like, I think FaZe will get it. I'm like, it could either be a quick 2-0 FaZe, or we're going to see Elevate just completely walk around him again, pushes to OT every single map, and they just take it in the end.
Well, I think that's the sort of stress here. Is obviously FaZe had a bit of a better run yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's what sort of got them the morning off this morning. For this game, they were able to take their first against OXG in the upper bracket after getting out of it, and then they dropped against Liquid. They lost against Liquid, fell to the lower bracket from that point onwards. Elevate, obviously, they've already had a bit of a rocky road. They dropped a little bit earlier, but fought their way a bit further forward, got themselves into a new situation, and obviously, spoiler alert for a game that happened just before this one on the A stream, OXG succeeded. OXG have kept themselves alive as well. So the fight that FaZe did, they're obviously strong opponents. They're still here fighting. They just took out Damwon Kia.
Yeah, and that makes Elevate the only APAC representative left for you. So they kind of want to live on. They kind of want to be the best of APAC, which they would achieve if they take the win against FaZe here, because then they will be at the highest placing of any given APAC team here at the 6th Invitational 2022.
Playing for APAC right now, team, and that is it. That is that sort of mark of stress. And, you know, they were a roster that hadn't had a huge LAN experience. They're obviously perpetually not quite at LAN, but here they've been able to put in a great showing. They've shown up for a lot of people and brought this exciting siege down on Kia. They just couldn't quite get any of the momentum that they've had before, and here it's time for the remaining hopefuls to see if they can open it up against FaZe, a team that obviously came into this as maybe not everybody's favorite, but they were definitely in a lot of the top 5, top 6 predictions for a lot of people. Here, forced all the way back down green. They're going to be shepherded down into the site itself. The LMG, as we've seen throughout this tournament frequently, puts a bit of hefty stress down onto those players and puts them in an uncomfortable situation. Onigiri, the man of the moment, earlier on, he's ready to watch some flanks.
He's ready to watch those flanks, Dean. It's actually not Onigiri now that is playing on the DMR. He's moved over towards the Yana, so a bit of a different role that he will be filling right now. No longer really a flank watch, but more of the entry player on the side of Elevate. And if you drop 28 kills, 27 kills, I mean, on the map, that is quite logical that you're going to be giving him some more freedom there. Hatches will be opened up with the Ken openers. We'll be providing extra angles towards Super Aster, towards Souls, who are currently, well, basically locked into those blue stairs. And there's going to be a really tough way out here for them. Need to cross.
A lot of ADS is ready to go. The shotgun, close quarters, and obviously the watch on the back. They've sort of doubled themselves in on blue, and obviously with the hatch gone, as you said, they've got to cross it. But Elevate has to sort of be that pressure point. They have to draw some attention and some focus. They've got to burn this, and there it comes. They're looking for potentially the second here, hoping to catch the rotate on the way around. They're trying to bait out the play. There is going to be more of a burn. The Grismods and the flash absolutely everything. The slow creep there of a shotgun round towards the top. They're going to see if they can get a catch, but we just heard some ADSs whir themselves back into line. A big burst of utility hasn't quite come together. They're going to do another canister, another push back on that barbed wire. The drone is just getting that intel, getting that read, but this is so much time that is otherwise coming against them, and there, as they're able to get rid of that gate on the drop hatch, the shotgun finally finds one, finds two! It's looking for a third, and he's hungry for more! And it's a huge opening there for FaZe. 4 bodies, 1 staircase on Onigiri, all that's left.
Well, it's time to start working on your stat padding here. Onigiri, for as much as you need. 10 seconds on that clock. See if you can pick up any of these kills. That's one to start it off. Just many to go. Feet get spotted out. Player down there. There's nothing really he can do to try and win this. So just assigns the player around the hatch. See if he can find anything. Not the case. And FaZe, they will lock it off with a basically a blue stairs hold. The shotgun really working wonders there.
A quick technical we're going to be taken by the looks of it. We can see a headset. The pit stop team's in.
Yeah.
Time them.
Oh, wait. There we go. Trying to get the clock on.
Clock's on.
Okay, clock's on. Sort of.
I'm going to just add like
We're going to add a couple of seconds. All right, here we go.
Maybe like 10.
It's going.
It's the pit stop. They're swapping out a headset by the looks of it and getting that sorted. Obviously, it was on the side of FaZe, and this gives Elevate a moment to have a quick conversation because they got sort of stuck. There was nowhere for them to drive themselves in on that hold. FaZe were locked and loaded on that stair set. They were never truly under pressure from underneath. There wasn't any pressure onto dirt or onto green. Every single player was focused on a stair set, where in the end they just tried to Hail Mary charge themselves around the corner, and, well, it obviously did not work. They were entirely cut down by that English shotgun, where it's as good as much faith as you had in it, and that man had a lot of faith.
44 seconds and 89 milliseconds. That is going to be the pit stop time that we have.
Good time.
Good time. It's definitely one of the quicker ones we've seen.
And we're back in.
And we're back in. We're going to open area. And as these 6 picks will come through, it was a bit of a... It's difficult, right? I mean, there's always going to be someone on those blue stairs, and it's most of the time going to be a shotgun. You kind of need to follow up with the utility you toss in. That's not really what we saw. We saw the utility being tossed in, ADS has come back active again, and after that they start pushing with 3 members, but all one by one. And of course you don't want to just all run at the very same time. You might TK, but like this as well. If it's a shotgun and you give just enough time to get the pump ready for the next player to move through, then you are just going to be picked apart by Souls. Playing with that shotgun just a second ago. This time will be on the Alba.
Elevate. You've had that moment as FaZe got their headset swapped out to see if you could try and tie something else together. It was a big start. Bit of a blunder, but better have that now, and you can still build from it than at the end when you don't really have anywhere else to go, and it maybe matters a little bit more. The stretch here for FaZe. They've been able to get themselves that opener. They're opening up the stretch of Bank, which is obviously their map pick, and Elevate need to try and get themselves off to a better start on their half of their preference. The attack here, which is that sort of back and forth for them. It's not always been their smoothest factor, regardless of their famously aggressive playstyle.
Yeah, for sure not. And they now need to find themselves a way into the open area. It might be a little bit more friendly to be entered from. Actually, Onigiri already in that basement. Not even 30 seconds past, and he's already watching the hatch, hoping to see someone sneak into the side office here. He's playing on that bit of a lurker role here to create an opening as soon as the pressure starts to arise on the FaZe camp. Snae's already getting quite close here, right behind the teller's office. He needs to be careful, of course. He's in quite a bit of an open area. Cameraman has locked himself in, though. Spot seemed to be coming through, and he might be debating whether or not he should go for a drop. That could actually play into Onigiri's position, as I just see actually rotates away from that current position. So he's going up. He's going to try and put some pressure down onto the kitchen door, whereas the rest of Elevate seems to be together again, but on the western side of the map.
They're trying to get that early lead in, trying to find a body there and trying to just pull something about it. Obviously, Sapper suffered just a scratch with that hard destruction, which could come at that bit of an expensive cost if caught out early. Sapper is sort of an unfortunate hit-and-miss player sometimes, and, you know, he's pulled off some pretty big heroics on Bank itself, but getting the connection at the right time in the right place, it's something that you don't want to lose early. Your carrier, your kit, and your hard destruction. A close swing might happen here for Cameraman, but it's actually Bullet that opens it up, takes rid of Onigiri. The drone gets the reveal on the player. The swing comes through, but Nerix entirely caught out there. Cameraman with the pre-fire sort of anticipated the pull and the push, and that's that game sense that's netted them a second. And now Sapper, he's a little bit stuck inside Archives.
He's definitely going to be stuck in there, indeed. Doesn't really know how to get out. Wants to open up, but his Bullet is going quite aggressive on the blue stairs here. It's Snae that is down onto 1 HP. The hatch gets opened up, and he now again finds himself with a double blue stack up here on the side of FaZe, who are looking to go quite aggressive up those stairs. Cyber is going to push out. He gets the kill. Souls follows up with one as well, and as DCH gets picked up in the basement by Cameraman, it's a flawless round for FaZe.
Oh, that was a vicious defense. FaZe have come into this server with a huge amount of heat, and they made sure that Elevate felt it. Taking that initiative, taking those pre-fire fights where they're able to actually win out, regardless of the intel that comes against them, based on the sense that I'm going to be swung. Someone is going to put pressure onto me. There were the pings at that sort of kill in the bottom of square, sure, but it's still the communication of, well, here's the drone on one side, this is what they like to do, and I heard some footsteps before. it's that energy that FaZe has against a team that has a lot of energy.
For sure. And with that, FaZe are leading in 2-0, and quite convincingly as well. We've only had 2 kills in total of the side of Elevate, and if you then think back towards the first game they played today, when we're up against Rogue, on that third map on Oregon, for a while there were a lot of players that only had that singular kill. The differentiating factor back then was Onigiri, who had 11 by the time that someone dropped the second. He really kept them in it back then, and for now at least, FaZe, the aggression that they bring, the freshness that they still have for this game, is what makes them start strong here.
Now, FaZe, onto your tertiary site and Elevate. They haven't quite found that connection at all. 2 kills across 2 rounds, and neither was really in a position where they could try and build from it or get behind it. Obviously, one was an exit on the previous round, and the other wasn't too much later in the round. It's that sort of unfortunate start, and a stumble, as I said, with FaZe, with a lot of heat, a lot of pressure. It is their map, but at this point, you question, unfortunately, if the other team's been able to make it into the game yet. It's the approach here. The ping on the Valk cam and the idea that they're not that far away, because that only just came up. Cyber, he wants to go for a bit of aggression here, and you can see that Nay is sort of being fed and filtered a couple of tracer shots through soft walls. Cyber is refusing to stand down.
He's not standing down yet. Indeed, he looks to go for a bit of a flank as Sebrastro coming in quite close as well. Bullet taking a lot of damage. The flank comes through. That is Nay that has been taken out. There's still a player prone in D-Teller's area, though. It's Onigiri that is going to be able to be picked up as well as he whiffs his own shots. It's a 5-on-3. A double entry yet once again. It's FaZe that starts so strong here. And Elevate is yet to try and find an answer to whatever FaZe keeps on bringing, keeps on throwing at them. Their aggression definitely seems to be not working out right now for Elevate.
The Zero is going to set themselves up some eyes and angles to the players up on the top. There is obviously one on the cancel corner, and well, DCH was trying to eye up a fight at that moment in time, but couldn't quite get the angle they wanted. Cyber sure has it, though. He's going for one more on the big windows, waits for the upside down repel, but Souls, he's trying to catch him before he gets there. There's another take. This one is into the favor of Nerex, finds his first, but forced back by the smoke. Just over a minute left on the clock. Another call, just to buy themselves some ground as Bullet tries to retake his own inside tellers where bodies have already been strewn across. He sees the ping of previous players, and well, attackers once lay there, and now he's trying to put an attack on of his own. A rotation round green doesn't quite catch him off as he slips his way back in, but it's a slow rebuild. An attempt to pinch a player that's already sort of gone past.
Yeah, he's trying to rotate out here. A lot of time will be wasted with that as well. The Elevate players are down on that ground floor, currently far from the side. Won't be able to actually push up yet. And as the time slowly dwindles, 30 seconds left on that clock, nothing will probably happen. They might be able to pick up one, but with the health that Sepper is currently in, and well, no more smoke canisters, but still a lot of guns on the ground. It's going to be a shotgun around the corner. 1 and 2 will be coming through as well. Cameraman locks it off, and it's FaZe with a 3-0 clean start here on Bank.
3 rounds, 3 kills. For Elevate currently, I believe they have really been absolutely blindsided by this defense here that FaZe's. I mean, it's hard to sort of break down when things are disconnecting right now, because there is just seemingly a massive disconnect between these two teams. FaZe have entirely been running this. There hasn't really been a whiff or a moment where Elevate's even sort of put pressure onto a site at this point. They're hitting very early doors and finding them locked.
That's it. Basically, the first point of contact that FaZe set up is exactly where Elevate gets stuck. And it's not at all like what we're used to be seeing from them compared to the previous game we had with them. There is a bit of a change up there. I'm not quite sure how well this will work out, but Onigiri has decided to, instead of the Yana, swap over to a Amaru. The only worry I'm having with this is the fact that it's the basement. Now we might see... Okay, listen up.
Give me a listen up.
Open up the hatch.
Yeah.
Drops through. Assassinates one of the players.
Okay.
And goes back up because he has the opportunity.
It's a bit of a dream scenario.
The only way to get back out of that hatch.
Sure, but let's paint a scenario of how that has to happen, or what would need to happen for that to work. First of all, you got to get in and get the hatch, which is solid. Now, Kaid's off the board, so you got some soft destruction and hard destruction that isn't going to be tempered by anything, but at the same time, you make a lot of noise. And when you make a lot of noise, Amaru isn't always at her best. Because there's other places where you could try such a thing, but it doesn't mean it's going to be successful. And, well, at that point, what would you need? You'd probably need smoke canisters. Oh, they haven't got any smoke canisters.
Yeah, but there's also no one on the side. Right now. We just have Souls and Astro.
Oh.
What about they push in from the garage? Go quick. Go to the side. And they get the first entry.
Cameraman is in garage. They have at least a single body there to stop it. But here, finally, Elevate have been able to find that opener, find a body, and there is no instant response. Bullet is gone. You've lost the arena, you've lost a quick movement and a bit of aggression, and that sort of going the conflict ground. You assume all the gadgetry was already well played and placed at this point, but look at this. Those FaZe players are pulling themselves back down towards the site. The retake of Archive. So many bodies in open, and a drone does get the call. No bullets are going to come through the soft, but he seems prepared for the chance of the fight. They headed up, and he didn't see it because the sight on the gun blocked him out.
Wasn't quite going to expect him to be up those top square stairs after that drone. Managed to find Cyber Zero. Onigiri now on that chase, however, has that big G3. I think it's a G3, I don't know. It's the LMG at least that is in the hands of IQ, but also on Amaru. It's going to be not as big as the others, not the 151 bullets, but still goes quite well. DCH with a bit of support from below, but Onigiri gets tagged out, just slightly though. A single shot from the MPX is not going to be harming him too much here, and as this challenge continues, a drone will be thrown out to try and figure out where exactly he is at this moment, because Cyber is definitely in a position to hurt the rest of Elevate like big time.
Well, he's caught. That was 2 stories and a setup there. They had an idea where the player was, but that was about a minute that was focused on that single force. And yeah, you got to get rid of them as the roaming Valk, but at the same time, now you've got less time to try and direct yourself towards the site itself. Astro, he's holding off on those green stairs, and Cameraman was still in garage, but might pull himself back. They have the smoke. If a default plant is attempted, that's sort of long-range way to disturb and defer anybody that tries to deposit a kit onto the floor, but 40 seconds, and they're still quite spread out, and DCH is trying to potentially find souls on that big vault hatch.
Don't want to say anything, but Onigiri is currently on the elevator hatch, just ready to drop. He's droning it out first, and well, soon they will find out that Astro is inside little side office with Cameraman on those main stairs, and as Astro stays prone here, doesn't even have his hand on the mouse. He's like, if I don't move, they won't know. It's actually Sepper that enters first. He is with that diffuser. That might be dangerous, but 14 seconds left. They need to make a push happen here. Smoke canisters are being used on the vault hatch, and that means that they now need to push through from the elevator side of things. There is one man on the ground, however, picks a vault, and somehow do! What is that shot? Absolutely amazing, and it's only up to DCH, and it started with an entry, but FaZe starved them out of time, and they're up 4-0.
I mean, okay, here's my 2 thoughts. 1, that MPX shot, unbelievable. 2, but it's a Latin American team with an MPX on bank, and that's like a famous recipe for unbelievable. That's, you know, you can never really create unbelievable. You can never really predict unbelievable, but you can sure put a few factors that seem to have a similarity in making that word pop up. And for me, my money, bank, Latin America, and an MPX.
What a shot that was. It's amazing. Also the 416 from the Jaeger on the ground there. Able to pick up 2. Important. Diffuser dropped, of course, if no one was inside. That, I believe, is the B-bomb site. Not the one into... is it lockers? I think it's lockers. That bomb site. Either way, 4-0 FaZe are starting very strong here in Elevate. Well, they managed to get to the site this time, just with not too much time left. They had to push 15 seconds, and maybe if they were a little bit quicker on the trigger when they had that top floor under control, they dropped the hatches a little bit earlier, they would have been able to make something happen, force themselves through, because they also just had to make sure that they would have droned out the sites to make sure that these mistakes that came through at the end were not the ones that stuck. In the end, they did. And that's an interesting Valkyrie camera that instantly gets shot, so Cyber is like, alright, I might toss up a second, I might just toss it out somewhere else. I think that one does roughly the same. You can still look out the window to see if someone is rappelled up, just not up to the same angle. So it's going to be a bit tilted. You can only see the first couple of windows, not all of them, whereas you can still hold the lobby, of course.
Your arrow is a 416, I'm done.
Yeah, it was a 416.
I don't know why I thought.
It's fine.
I don't know why I thought it was.
I mean, we had the MPX with an entry kill here.
We did have an MPX earlier, but I don't know why. It's been such a long. I'm so sorry, everybody.
But we have had a long, like,
I am so sorry. You know what? Technically, I'm not going to retract that because there was still an MPX and it was still.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say
it was still part of the math. Shut up.
I wouldn't hit that shot that he made either.
See, I'm dumb. Give Jaeger an
MPX.
Jaeger an MPX. So I'm correct, please, devs that are listening. I'm sorry, I lied to everybody, but still, it was still amazing.
Phone calls coming through, and that means the pressure might be as well, and you saw it right there as a drone gets taken out by Cyber, instantly followed up by a couple of shots from the ECH. He falls back, however, and as the phone calls will be disabled on the last members of FaZe, there's a bit of pressure coming in from the top floor. Nate as well, ready with a breaching charge, but he doesn't quite want to put that up yet. So afraid he might lose his feet, which of course not the case. Soul's not in a position to cancel that one out. Waits for the detonate as well until both of them are safe and ready to go. Might even wait for a bit of a later moment to go for a bit of a cheeky distraction there. Please wallbang that person if you have a yellow ping.
Well, there are other pings coming out, and it's Zappa that actually finds the first there onto Souls. They lose the Maestro and the Alder, and those cameras are going to remain a little bit more static than they were, but if the bubbles are still up but not popped yet, they'll still give some swing and some idea. It's a big fight on blue once again. Cameraman, who is still yet to die this game, is trying to find engagements, and there's two players that definitely won't be. Cyber and Bullet, both removed. 100% no MPX this round. Astro and Cameraman, all that is left to try and stick in against the best push we've seen Elevate do so far, and now it is just Astro, and he cannot find anything from 4 losses in a row.
To a flawless round.
To a flawless round.
And normally I wrote down the winning reason, but like there was no real push that came through. It's just kills everywhere over the map that basically led them to this point.
It was a flawless last time we were in open as well, but the other side.
Yeah, back then it was FaZe that had the flawless by skirmishes, and basically the round played the same basically as the last time. However, this time every single gunfight went into the way of Elevate compared to the other way around.
Exec and CEO. The last chance for Elevate to try and pull something here on their attacks, and, you know, things can build here. A 4-2 on their attacks, not on their map. As a bit of a slow start here against FaZe that came in absolutely cooking is one of those moments. The swap to the Amaru once again. Iana is taken off, and I guess maybe it'll have a little bit more success here. Maybe. You don't have to come up with as many faux reasons for where she might be able to strike.
Listen, I love the theory craft, alright? Maybe, right, I'm just gonna say something crazy, and Nagiro just goes up the janitor hatch. I doubt it, 'cause it's pretty much not gonna be having fun if Astro's on the other side of a shotgun. But yeah, you know, there's crazy ways to play. Possibly, we might even see a bit of a quicker pace up to that top floor, where the top of square instantly gets taken by a Nagiri, who just sweeps up there, instantly pushes right towards the janitor instead. You know, there's multiple ways around it.
Yeah, there's a handful. A handful of ways, and you can see the drones on the far side, and up topped in the plant to try and get the call and the read. Anyone that might be holding off onto square, it's stacked up on a Giri. Which window are you going to choose, my friend? Because nobody is really home to stop this right now. There he is. He's up, he goes. He's making a huge amount of noise, looking for the fight there onto janitors. They don't quite have the connection, and he's so close to a player. They're still opening rotations, and they're still opening angles, and there's one. They're already on the top of square as well, and it's a second spray. Doesn't get the connection. Bullet locks it off on a back line and saves them just as you could see the rest of Elevate was starting to get themselves stacked up for some potential. It was a bit of an early strike. Napier's going to drop that camera instantly and go for the pre-fire with the LMG just to see if anyone goes on the move behind it. But Cyberzera with the C4, he's looking for the fight there onto the stock door. And, well, Nato is a poor time to go on their camera. They're going to need a pickup. But if Cyber gets a read on this, he's more than able and likely to go for a swing, whether flat across or underneath.
If only there was withstand now. Not going to happen, of course, and Saber might be swung here on the janitor door, and cameraman will be able to pick that one up as well. The diffuser has been dropped cold. They look for a way to pick up Nay, but as there is going to be an extra player on the janitor door, Nerix is well aware now. There is a player down there with the shotgun, but as the smoke canister gets popped, it is at least going to slow it down even a little bit more so. Nerix is afraid that it might be a cam. He's looking around. He's like, how do they know that I'm right around the corner? I haven't been making any noise. And Cyber, as he checks the corner as well, it's bullet that gets dropped. Nerix from a very long angle here picks up another kill.
Cyber wants to go wider and wider right now. He's trying to find just an angle on this as DCH blows his way all the way in. He's got to go now or never to get Nay back up. He should be fighting fit in just a second with some time still left in the clock. They can try and rebuild this, but a wide shotgun swing is... well, it's about to happen. Just saw the side of an elbow, and cameraman tried to see him back, drops the drone, another canister. He's wasting a huge amount of time here on the kit. It makes things a bit awkward because at this point, from Elevate's side, what do we go to do? We're looking to see if we can pull another body out of the side itself. They've still got some of this stock control. They still have some flashes and some calls and some plays they can try and put across. They know that player's inside, and Souls knows too in the corridor. And now the 3 versus 1 gets a great take on the shotgun, gets a spray through and scratches the side on the surface of Cyber, but 30 seconds and in janitors now. It's the pop from Souls.
So the 3K or was it a 4K there? I'm not quite sure. Either way, it is going to be him that locks it off. And after Onigiri went in quite quickly, he manages to get that very first kill. Saw the smoke first, still making the rotations, but decided, okay, hold off for there. We first get the player on janitor, we then swap back. It's just the player that came back towards the side from the banana that was able to shut him down before he did too much damage to the side of FaZe, who are now up 5-1. And you know, it is never impossible to make a comeback happen. We have seen many across the board. However, this feels like quite a tall ask. Like, only these last 2 rounds, Elevate has really been close to the side. That'll be closer because they're on the defense, but I'm just sort of saying, like, FaZe has been pretty, pretty confident and pretty demanding so far.
I think that's the thing, is it's not every time that when you get to a map that is a selected map, it is so obviously a team selection. It is so obviously defined by a team and the pace that they can put on here, and FaZe just had pretty much total control on their half, on that side, and now, obviously, Elevate, well, they have 1 buffer. 1 round and 1 slip-up that will allow them that extra breath before they're trying to claw back as many as they can to keep themselves a little bit level into this showdown. And at this point, when you're obviously looking at Dostoyevsky up next, which is a map that FaZe have been able to take against Cyclops, against the sort of, you know, other region team, and it's not the most out there. They also took it, I believe, against SSG as well during groups as well. It's not going to be a straightforward fight on that second map.
It's definitely not going to be. At least, the Elevate should be having a little bit more to say about their attacking rounds out there. But overall, I don't know what it is, but it just don't seem that coordinated compared to that previous game we've seen him play against Rogue. And FaZe, completely a full tank to go with still as well. And that might be the most dangerous thing. FaZe, who haven't played a game yet, of course, besides their scrims. Whereas Elevate has had a absolutely grueling best of 3, where in the 3rd map it didn't really seem like they had a chance for a very long time. It wasn't for Onigiri, who was 11 kills at some point, whereas the rest of his team only had 1. That kept them in it, and suddenly it all turned around. Suddenly the whole team woke up, and that might still happen. It could still happen this game. But you always start wondering, is it too little too late? If you didn't lose it, yes it was. If you come back, then it is a great story.
FaZe over the top, getting the read on intel. Cyber is finding a wall of the threads of that utility and making sure that it is entirely pinged and covered. They're still formulating an idea here, and as windows start to pop on the east side and the stack up starts to come onto square, that idea is starting to turn into more of a push. DCH, he wanted to meet them at the pass there for a second. That drone means he's got to play himself just a little bit further back, as well, that drone's number, but also has a little bit of support from utility. The Banshee, the ADS, is just in a position there so they can't get a quick and aggressive swing on it.
Not yet, at least. He has a very good drone here as well. Camera, rather. Finds these drones that the attackers, knows that there might be a little push coming in from the ATM side of things, and he's also in a position to try and challenge that if that's the case. Big worry, however, is that this side is already being opened up. There is currently a couple of repels on the side of FaZe, or once they can quickly translate into repels, and Souls is knocking at the door. He has that diffuser. He could go for a plant at any given second right now. And they just need to try and hold them off. There is still that player in Janitor. Nerix is going to be that big decisive factor as Astro gets an opening kill. But he trades out with Enagiri himself instantly as well. So trade opening on either side, which at least provides a bit of an opening to FaZe, but at the same time, Elevate, they have to deal with one less player.
Souls find Sapper, and now with 20 seconds, they're going to see if they can try and throw themselves inside, but DCH is still causing problems on those white stairs. They're in though, but they're not going to stick the diffuser for very long without Janitor's control. Nerix gets an easy pickup, goes for the second as wide as he can, and he's able to find the cover of DCH on the far side. Cameraman, all that's left with a pistol and a dream, but they lock him out 5-2.
Nerix and the janitor there. Janitor. Really crucial.
Right, it's been a long day.
It's been a long day, but really crucial. Able to pick up the diffuser as it went down. He was still in that position, not really challenged upon that point. And I said it, you know, there is players up on the rappel, but as soon as everybody jumps in, no one is holding off that long angle. And maybe it was also not the best place to go for the plant. Maybe the desk would have been a better choice to run deep right behind the bomb chassis, considering that Nerix would have had to go a little bit wider in that case, allowing the rest of his team to cover off a little bit better on the side of FaZe. But Elevate, they start their comeback. That's the first round on the board. Well, did they get the entry? Did they not? I'm not quite sure, because they both killed each other at the very same time. So it's an entry for both teams. Everybody gets an entry. But they managed to hold on. And even though FaZe managed to push through the side, they opened it up, they started to get in. It's just that Janitor that hasn't been cleared out, and that is crucial in the end. You need to take control of Janitor if you want to plant in that position. There's no other way.
Open. And, well, a site that's been a bit back and forth, the only site that Elevate were able to take on their attack, and it was a flawless take. So I guess if you're an Elevate fan, or you're an APAC fan, you're hoping that they have a little bit of that flawless energy about themselves as they find themselves setting up for maybe 5-3, maybe only a difference of 2, and it still puts them in a pretty rocky situation going onto their tertiary site, but still, yeah, better than a 6-2.
You know what I actually liked is when before on the analyst desk they highlighted the plant capacity of FaZe.
Yeah,
I was just giggling at that moment. I'm like, Elevate has had one plant in like the last 18 attacking rounds they've played.
The weird thing is, when they came into this, they had a huge amount of plants. Before they came into this day, they were on like 22 plants. I believe it was a high number,
but didn't get much higher. And they weren't able to put up a single plant either in that past half. And well, FaZe is looking to change that. Of course, in the second attacking round now. Nerix up on that top floor is trying to hold on as much as he can with Onigiri, who is back on his Mark 14, his beloved DMR. He's able to pick up so many kills with, and that is something I highlighted as well. The impressive thing about him dropping that kill record before is not just because he's on an entry. He's on flank watch, but at the same time also using 7 different operators in that game. So he's doing it with multiple guns. Whereas Bullet is trying to go for a bit of a hunt now with that ARX, looking for the opening inside of the archives here. We'll be finding either a way towards those main stairs soon, or might be trying to open up with some friends into the small side office.
FaZe, they've been able to get themselves locked in across the front of archives. They're seeing if they can get across the little small box room in between. It's soft, and with an angle that they're just going to hold and hope they can catch a rotate. This cameraman starts to do a little bit of construction work here on this back line. It runs that route, that corridor over the face of the elevators. There was that watch and that rotation, and Onigiri just ducks the bullets and keeps himself aware. They don't think that they can get a full lock-in, but they're still setting up. They're still putting the pressure onto the quad wall, and they get that open with not a huge amount of resistance by the looks of it.
Nay, in the meantime, has rotated up to the top floor, used the elevator hatch to move himself up. He has instantly moved towards these main stairs, though, but it's a way to get to the displays without really being spotted out, because the angle was being watched at that moment in time, so Cyber might not actually expect him to be here, and as he slowly creeps around to the right, he might just get his head removed very soon here. As Ney continues to hold off, Souls takes a lot of damage in the meantime, and he's got kill start happening with Ney still in that position to wait.
There's a rotate that's gone over to the top as well. He's about to find a fight right at the top of the stairs, but Nerix has it covered. Goes for the second, just misses it though. Cyberzera and Bullet find one apiece, and now with the spray all the way deep to the diffuser, they're cold, but it's absolutely boiling in the side itself. Nerix, all that's left, misses the spray onto the first. They can't quite get the kit, 20 seconds, they get the player instead. FaZe, one round away from looking out their map.
Side pressure coming through there from FaZe, just picking them up one by one, whereas there is still some roamers up top. The cover was sort of there, but in the end didn't quite hit it quite yet. And that is 4 map points now for FaZe. 4 rounds where they can try and clear it out and send Elevate with one leg up to that plane back to home. Of course, Elevate wants to prevent that, and there is still maps coming up where they have the opportunity to. Cafe, Villa, those are maps 2 and 3. Of course, we don't know if we reach Villa. We know we go to Cafe at some point. Could be within a round, could be within 4. As Locker CCTV will be chosen next by the side of Elevate, this is where they need to start that comeback. They need a flawless rotation, and more than that. 4 rounds in a row. Not a single mistake they can make, or at least not a big mistake they can make. So otherwise, someone will have to step up and make amends for it. At least it's starting to come alive a little bit, right? You see some kills starting to flow in on some of the members. They are still behind on FaZe, logically so, after 4 rounds of a difference here. But maybe it proves hopeful for map 2. For Apex, as this is their last representative still inside the tournament. And they surely want to go through. They want to show what they're made of. And the team is having so much fun when they play as well. It is just a pleasure to watch.
I mean, they had a slow start to this map. And, well, now they're going to have a flawless finish to try and claim it. Make sure that they can do this in 2 rather than 3. Remembering they had 3 very long games earlier on in the day. FaZe, they've hit this so clean so far. They made sure that they did all the work they needed to on their defense, and now it's just a matter of making one more connection with the site. And here, Lockers might be that next approach. The stretch and the extension with the castle, with that Prisma combination gives them a little bit more on the swing round. They have that singular hard wall to play and put some pressure here from Kitchen. If they want to pull back, they can. You can see FaZe, they're picking themselves up. Is this a big garage rotate by the looks of it?
Seems to be a small garage rotate at least. There's one person, Bullet, first one in. Well, not in yet, but the drone will be. And Souls is following as well. There seems to be a little bit of a idea to go around here that the garage might be somewhat free to enter. And they might be right about it, because Bullet is the first one to go through. Super Astor just Spider-Man's down as well, and they are starting to go for the push. It's only Sapper indeed. And as he is rotating over towards Red, it seems like Nerix might be aware, because he's descending these stairs. There is something not right. Ney back on the side as well. They start to realize that something is tricky right here.
That's it. There was that moment of Elevate when they said, well, where are they? He said, well, there's one place we don't know, and that is Garage. And instantly, they try and flood themselves back. 2 extra players drop down to site, and as the pressure starts to come across here, you'll likely see a little bit more offer themselves some support. Ney and Nerix, they're locking in the door here, making sure that Souls can't get himself much further. The shotgun is popped and ready to rock here, hoping the Maverick makes a little bit of a mistake on a drop.
Might. No, not yet. Stands up, runs away, gives away his position, so cameramen know he escapes with his life there. Still a 6 and 2, a minute left on the clock, and again a rotate will be called. It seems like they need to change, but Cyber gets an entry kill.
Cyber with that early one there against Onigiri, not quite able to get that locked in. DCH on a big flank round has got his way, but Cyber, he's behind you. He goes for a drop and takes it. Nerix, in the meantime, gets Bullet inside the site. Now it's a deep line across the top. They've lost the hatch, and Cyber's on a triple here, but he's sort of hungry for more. There's one back in the vault and one by the bottom of the elevator shafts. Nerix, he's at least saved by Sapper, who has that lockdown on the far side round, and Nerix is, well, not going to be able to save him entirely from that, but he's able to pop off at least another.
Diffuser there.
There's a swing onto green. There's the possibility that player, Souls has got it recollected, and the 15 seconds is going to be used to try and take that to the other side, but there he is, and can't quite get it out. FaZe lock the map almost. stopping the inevitable. But on there, was there anything that would stop that FaZe?
I don't know. I mean, that FaZe looked really strong, and as they pointed at the screen, it's like, look, got the MVP animation. It's the IQ that's going off. You don't see it. But we do, of course. And with that, the first map ends very quickly here. A 7-2 victory for FaZe, whereas 2 players of them dropped those double digits. It might have even been, look, I took your MVP in that last round over to Cyber, who was, of course, no, was it Souls? It was Souls, I think, on that Thermite. Either way, it is that first round, first map in favor of FaZe. And, well, one more to go for them to proceed down towards the lower bracket even more so, but at least stay here in Sweden to live to play that final day off stage.
That's it. And obviously, we've still got a bit of a fight. You could see Super Onigiri there. He was a little bit tired. He was a little bit... Yeah, that one got away from us. But they're a team that has bounced back before. Earlier today in a very long series, in fact. So, it's a team talk. And it's time. And it's Kafe Dostoyevsky up after a quick break.
Welcome back, everybody, to the B stream here for Elevate versus FaZe. FaZe just won map number 1 on Latam, or also known as Bank, and they were able to do that with quite some synonyms.
No, I get it.
Bank.
No, I
thought you were okay. Never mind.
Go.
Let me just continue with the same hype, and it was a 7-2. It was quite convincingly, and now we head over towards Kafe Dostoyevsky, and let's see whether or not Elevate is going to be able to punch back.
They gotta.
They kind of have to.
They looked tired. They looked tired. They had a long series today, and you could see it here across the board. The 7-2. It really was a disconnect here from a team. You know, the first 3 rounds, they managed 3 kills.
Yeah, they managed to get 3 kills in those first 3 rounds, and you know what else they got a 3 of? Entry kills. 6 of them went to FaZe. In the end, they managed to win with 7-2. Of course, no plans. Again, a flawless round from either team. Both of those happened on open area on the first half. And besides that, well, I think they all need to step it up just a little bit more on the side of Elevate here if they want to have a shot at Kafe, because I think otherwise FaZe might be just running over them.
I mean, they couldn't run over them any faster or more aggressive. I think even though it was a 7-2, it was, you know, it was a strange 1 round where it was a flawless.
Yeah, and then Janitor in the Janitor play from Merrick's that came in as well.
And then a big sort of bout. But then outside of that, Elevate would just barely there. They were disconnected. They couldn't quite get that sort of play, that gritty skirmishes that we sort of complimented them on earlier today. That has sort of been a frequency of them here. As I said, they look tired. And that's quite hard to pull yourself out of, because they're playing some of the most intense Siege they'll ever play. They're playing on the grandest stage, and they're playing for the chance at surviving. It's not a sort of winner bracket, lower bracket. Everything they do from this point on in this competition is do or die, and that exhausts you. That takes it out of you, and you know, and it's not to sort of say anything about FaZe, because FaZe played brilliantly. They played so
they did everything
good.
they needed to. Like, you know, there's no way that we can take away credit from them, because they did everything they had to and more than that, and they completely shut down Elevate. And honestly, it's just Elevate that needs to improve on this next map compared to what we saw on Bank. Maybe even more than what we've seen from them today. But what I am afraid of is that the game versus Rogue, and I said it when we were casting Rogue Elevate, this team, whoever wins, needs to play FaZe, and they might face fatigue, no pun intended, at the end there. And if that is indeed the case, if that was why Bank seemed to be so off rhythm, off pace for Elevate, then we might have an issue here on Kafe. Let's see if they could revitalize themselves. Let's see if they can bring it back as they start off the ban phase here on Kafe. And the Nomad is the first to go.
Yeah, I think the thing about FaZe is, sure, the question mark that has been over them at this tournament so far is the consistency of the players. I know Jess was talking about it on the desk and saying that the Diffuser's been juggling around. They haven't quite been able to just have a solid identity. They've sort of been missing that structure that won them so much in the Sweden major, in Gävle.
It definitely did. It won them the whole major in the end.
But in that same sort of moment, you look at who defeated them. The only teams that have taken them so far was Liquid twice, 2-2-0s, and they are probably, for a lot of people, the tournament favourites at the minute. They're one of 2 names based on performance on the tournament alone. Them and Empire are likely the names etched in for a lot of people.
I think TSM is starting to make their way in there as well.
For sure, for sure.
We'll know more tomorrow at 4 a.m. for poor Jenna.
4 a.m.
No, 1 a.m. actually it was, and she needs to work at 5 a.m. So I said, just stay up. You watch the game. Go to work right after. Either way, that's not yet, but that's gonna be an interesting match as well. Either way, we are getting underway in this phase that looks to repeat that success from November Major, but this time through that lower bracket, of course. Need to make it happen. And Bar Cocktail will be the first side they attack, because Elevate choose to go to the top floor.
That's it, Elevate all the way to the top here, and they've got to get off to a good start. Kafe is a good map for them, but it's the energy that they need to bring to stop an encroaching FaZe, a team that can also play this map, and a team that's demonstrated that. Here it goes, though. The opening here across the top, and there was stuff about this site that I really loved, and what I'm going to point towards is what's in the pockets of the Jackal and the Twitch, the smoke plays that FaZe have done as executes on this top floor.
I like how the Jackal is actually coming in after what we saw Elevate pull off against Rogue. Wonder if that one will be making it back. Actually, you know what's funny? I can hear the players in my headset the entire time. Like, I can hear them.
Okay. I think I've got them a little bit.
Yeah, I got them a little bit as well. I cannot understand what they're saying.
Well, no, they're probably
slightly
in either Thai or
yeah, I was gonna say I don't speak their languages, but it's quite funny. You can hear them get hyped up every now and then. Hideaway, yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see. Are FaZe going to go for a aggressive, quick, planned strategy here? Use those smokes to their advantage after they try and explode onto the side? Or will we see a bit more of a slow approach, where they will slowly go up from the bottom to the top? No, that's not the case. Cyber already injured here, and Onigiri on 1 HP. It's going to be the entry frag still, though, for the side of Astro and FaZe, as Onigiri gets himself healed back up by the field hospital, as Medics calls it.
Where did Zappa get got from? That was the second engagement. Was it on white stairs? It was caught out as he tried to rotate down, but then there goes Cameraman from white stairs window. Everything is kind of exploding from a couple of different places at this moment in time, and well, Elevate wanted to hit a pace with this, and FaZe are more than happy to sort of try and meet it for now. One body off of each team. Cyber's back to his feet, and as the C4 pops on the piano window, Onigiri's been able to get himself back in next to piano and get himself pretty healed up.
Now, it is a quite explosive start from the side of Elevate here, and that might work out, at least for this round. Not quite sure if it will last the entire time, but this is, of course, this CAG kind of playstyle we know from the last 6 Invitational, where they managed to keep BDS and Empire at bay. But as DCH pops up, he gets another down. It's Astro that will lose his life. There we go. But he instantly gets traded out. Souls from the top. And that might have been a very costly mistake going for that second swing.
That's it. He went to try and cement the kill there, but obviously that second time round was more than enough time for Souls to get into a position to get that set up for a trade. Turned a great flank take and a huge question mark into a bit of an exclamation point. Onigiri's still around Cigar Lounge, still trying to find himself an engagement. It's sort of proving a little bit distant right now because there's attention being paid around him but not directly to him. There's some pressure. Caught, though, by a jammer just on the other side of that small bar, and that means they're going to have to see if they can try and potentially get a drone in, which is going to start its work here from White.
Still have one there in that bathroom. Will be not droned out, but at least pressured a little bit. And Onigiri takes some damage, but can always fall back towards one of those field hospitals as he makes the rotate through. But that also means there's currently no pressure on the piano side, as they knew that that player has just rotated through. So that gives them a bit of free space. Cyber, however, gets spotted out due to a proc sensor, so they know one is around the white stairs area. And as the diffuser gets dropped by Onigiri, it is a good start here. Nate goes down as well, however, and that means it's a 2-on-2 situation now.
Onigiri, he's going to see if he can find the first fight, and there it is. Popped onto one, the last. Around the backside of Lumber, and well, he's just going to swap guns, but get dropped out. Cyber is able to find one. There's a swing on the door that doesn't quite get him. Nerix locks off the round for Elevate.
And after they continue to put up that pressure to that outside area, they continue to, well, challenge them as soon as they're on the repels. In the end, Elevate are able to get a round off it here. Even though some costly mistakes happened. I mean, Onigiri managed to get an injury, was down to 1 HP, but as you could see, he healed himself back up with the Thunderbird. Salvation stations, or if you put multiple together, a field hospital.
Yeah, it builds the whole little safety box.
It builds the whole little safety box until a grenade rolls in and destroys it all.
Yeah, that's true.
But in the end, they still managed to continue that trading game. And as the line gets 6 picked out from Cameraman, it's a gridlock to come through. So they want to make sure that they can get rid of potential rotating from these defenders by locking off the stairs, most likely.
Reading is where Elevate are going to see if they can put a little bit more distance here on their holds. They get off to a start phase. You assume there might be a little bit more attention paid to the potential of the damage done onto the windows. Obviously, if they're able to catch a player off early in that engagement, and they were able to pick them up, sure, but still, it's FaZe. It's a team that reacts and responds and tries to re-up their advantage to, I guess, redefine their approach itself. Elevate, they're stacking themselves up here with the vertical hold that Reading requires. They're going to have a back line. They have that true lock-in, and, you know, there's still that sort of combination of pocket smokes that could come into a big play with a couple of frags behind it.
Alrighty, Elevate found a round. They are in the lead. They haven't had this luxury yet here against FaZe. Of course, there is still a map down, so they need to find one here on Kafe. They need to make sure that they get some quick pressure, some quick entries here, and is Nagiri just rotating around, walking through that bakery. Maybe if there was a Jackal, he could be spotted out. You know, waste some time there, let them think someone could be on that roam, but just continues to roam around, get these drones as he takes them out one by one. I think he might have missed a Twitch drone that was chasing him, however. To the most valuable one he didn't take.
And that's it. He's keeping himself mobile. He's keeping himself moving, and this is exactly what they needed before, which caused them a huge amount of problems.
There's only 6 drones left already, so many have been taken out very early on. Make that 5. Actually, just one more got taken out. So Elevate really working against the information from FaZe here.
And that's it. And that's sort of the game that he's leaning into. If we throw our minds back to Club when they needed to try and have a bit of a shot, or Oregon even, just after, that was when we started to see more of that aggression lead in, more of that play that really hit a peak at the start of Oregon here, and maybe it's the second map after the first has faltered where we might start to see on a Geary of that game before. A lot of pressure here to the top of Lumber. Cameraman's coming up the stairs and Bullets coming down it, but it's Cameraman that gets the kill, and the swing from side, but doesn't quite get the connection, but that C4 sure does. Back on to those white stairs. Went for a little bit of a soft retake, but pulls himself a little bit further away, put a bite, put a nip into the ankle, and then retreat to cause them some more problems as the verticality starts to get popped open.
They're starting to open up right here, and a verticality will be found. ECH takes a lot of damage. However, field hospitals are still a thing. The big issue, however, is though that there is a vertical right above it. So even if they do try and get to that position, you'll probably be killed before you reach it. But the way that they place these Kona stations is actually really telling of the playstyle, whilst the Twitch drone is taking most of them out. Because they put them all in one spot, and that shows that they want to skirmish, that shows that they want to take these gunfights and then fall back as soon as they win one, heal themselves back up to full HP so they can go again.
Cyber suffers on his toes, but it's the swing and Eric's that locks it out. There's a second in there, but he's got a gun that just keeps going. Bullet is the next to be hurt, but Astro's inside the side round the back line, gets one, looks for the second on Zulu, but it's on Akiri through the soft, but it is instantly traded out from White, and Souls is now the man inside the site with 30 seconds. 2 versus 1. Sapper still has a C4. He's going to make a little bit of noise on the swing, but finds the kid in the diffuser, and Bullet is still above. Has hot pings, and now a couple of yellow, but he can't quite get the angle. He's going to have to go for a hot hop. There's a drone and a bit of a reveal. He's going to go for a reposition close on the swing. The prox gives the game away. It's just a matter of timing and an angle, and it's Sapper that gets the connection.
1v2 clutch coming in the end there. Sapper able to find a way to lock out that round after FaZe was able to just flood the side. I mean, there wasn't many players left, just Stu in the end on the side of FaZe, because they took a lot of losses entering. But it did take quick control of that top floor site. They did use that verticality well to put up some more pressure onto the players of Elevate, but Sapper able to go unnoticed, had no clue that he was coming through that door, and this is where those drones start to become an issue, because there was only 4 drones left, 2 of them were placed, 2 of them were in pocket by the time that FaZe went for an execute.
Jackal's back in lieu of Lion, and maybe they can try and funnel some space here, but there's also a swap out the Echo to the Mozzie. If you're going to talk about a drone game that was under control, they're going to try and add to that. They're going to sort of add that little bit extra, that little bit more of a problem to it. And I guess it could be that double-edged thing. There's already 1 drone that's gone, 4 of 4 now, and you're looking at maybe a bit of caution that might have to be paid by the drone games. And whether that will result in more kills or not, it might force FaZe to sort of be a little bit more thoughtful about their rotation of them.
Yeah, and of course they lose 1 normal drone. They just lost another one that has been shot because of the Cyber Zero. Playing on that Twitch gives you 2 shock drones. But they also have Souls right now on the floors, which brings these 4 Atero drones. And this can also be used for information, just not as flank watches. You get about 10 seconds of those to try and drive them in as deep as you possibly can and find a suitable target for the explosive charge that's mounted to it. And as Elevated currently leading 2-0 right now, they're trying to make up for the mistakes they made on that first map on Bank. They want to go to a third. They want to proceed and want to be the best APAC team here at the World Championships.
Behind the bar of the bakery, is where they've built a little bit of a hold, but without a shield, and I think only about 1 ADS apart from potential discs that get thrown in here. It's just seeing how much time they can sort of withstand before they might need to try and pull themselves back. It's sort of that battle against it. Onigiri's going to battle into it. Takes a huge amount of damage and then a little bit more. It was a very risky maneuver there. He swung onto the window a small bake, and at that point you can't really get into those scenarios too often with FaZe. As I said, they're a team that learns, and they're a team that's happy to play against that. The Flores drone is caught out, the smokes pop off on the door. They potentially wanted to move in behind it. The Twitch drone goes a bit wide and is able to catch some of those mute jammers. Some of that is slowly being pulled away from, as I said, it's that battle of attrition here. And he's just seeing how long he can hold on.
I think that ADS is still, however, on that cupcake, and that means that as soon as they put up a grenade, it might pick him up. Sapper able to find one. The trades are coming through. However, Astro takes control of that bakery, and that forces DCH to fall back. Only 2 players left on the Elevate side of things against the 4 of FaZe, who are looking to make a plan happen. They could go right behind the bomb chest. It's quite relatively safe, but they do spot out a player on the backside of that B bomb side, and that means they need to be quite careful about it. They need to sneak in that diffuser in a way where it isn't quite in trouble just yet.
There it is. Sol's going to see if he can stick it behind the bomb chassis. The C4 is ripped, thrown, and not blown. Caught the man and his tricks in the same spray, and suddenly a post plant with DCH, the only one still standing. Can't get the first. Astro is able to keep driving it. 2-1. FaZe find their first attack on their 3rd attempt.
They find it indeed, and it's the tertiary site that Elevate wanted to play here, and that means that it is still quite okay. I mean, they did manage to get that tertiary. Now they're starting to play sites again that they have seen before. Of course, the big issue with the top floor hold, which we will head back to now, the bar, was the fact that there was that much pressure towards the outside of the building. The early spawn peaks that came through, able to find a trade, able to find a DBNO as well. And of course as well, the hatches being challenged, the windows being challenged, just to make sure that FaZe was unable to get into the building properly, is eventually what starved them out of time, starved them out of personnel. And that left them with a round loss. But now they know. Now they have experienced it. And that might actually be the differentiating factor. They might be a little bit more aware, put their drones in the right positions as well to spot these kind of window plays.
Okay, FaZe, now there's a little bit of a question on you here. If you can take this, you can take bar, and you can set yourself up with an even half, and their first site that, well, you've been able to retake at this, it sort of proves that learning point, and it was loose play. And as I said, Onigiri, he's still positive for now, but the longer that goes on, you assume the more FaZe is going to potentially try and key into it and expect it. They were able to get that kill on Small Bake pretty early on, and you can't really double down with those same maneuvers. It's the ferocity that means there's always going to be the chance of a change, but you don't just want to end up with your change being loose.
No, definitely not. And FaZe will want to make sure that this time, again, some pressure towards the outside. They're starting to just spray out these windows in Piano. It's Onigiri, of course, who else that is looking to find that early aggression. He wants to be the difference maker here for the side of Elevate. And there's now a player who's upon that one. It's Estro that gets the opening kill. They were looking to make it happen the other way around, and it's the 4th one in this map, the 4th one in Kafe, that goes to the way of FaZe.
At this point, with how much noise Elevate are making on the approach, the response FaZe have taken is, well, let's just make the same amount of noise, because they're not really hiding anything. They're not hiding too much. And, well, it's a quick play there, and they throw the Selma onto the hatch instead of wasting time. Obviously, they have themselves the options to put down those breaches, and maybe they were concerned about some potential C4 aggression, but nobody has one on the board. There's no...
Of course, they don't know that.
Yeah, they don't know that, but that's I guess, going swift and seeing what you can do with it is the only thought pattern to pulling that play.
Yeah, of course, and in the meantime he rotated all the way around. He's at the bottom, but the rest of FaZe is starting to execute. The repels are coming through, the plant as well together with those Candelas. The execute is on its way, and as they start picking up the kills, it's actually the diffuser that gets cancelled out. It's Cameraman that loses his life, but it's only Sapper left now. It's not left either, as it gets picked up from the Cigar. A very quick round from FaZe. After they find Onigiri, they just explode into that site with these Candelas to lead them in. And that is a 2-2. They have equalized.
Twice Onigiri has been that opening death across 2 different positions where he was pretty aggressive. Caught out, coming back from Pixel. Okay, that might have been a cold read. That might have been just a sort of plucky shot. But then also the fight that happened on Small Bake. you know, you come into this situation where you already have proven how big of a factor you can be for your team in an earlier showdown. You play the game of your life, it takes a lot out of you. Yeah, no two ways about that. And here, if you're trying to reignite that magic, it is always that 50-50 coin because you are, as we've already said, already deep into a series like that. They have the knowledge of the sort of play style you like to play based on solely today, let alone all the other previous prep they might have had together.
I mean, FaZe had the opportunity to watch that previous map as well, and Kafe Dostoyevsky is where Elevate were able to take that match with a 7-3 victory first to start off that series. So the little tricks that they might have been able to pull there against Rogue surely shouldn't be working out now, as they supposedly should be aware. And of course, we are still yet to see that second round, and that is really where the difference was made, or the second half, I must say. When Elevate was on the attack, that was the differentiating factor in that game. When Nerix was able to freely take these many kills on that bottom floor, so many opening kills together with the Jackal. And I think that is something FaZe needs to counter. That is something they can hard counter as well, because they barely droned him in. He just walked right through the same door every single time because he knew there was no one there. If he does that again, it's an easy counter. You get him once, he's not going to try it again.
There's some legs. There's a player.
Oh, no
way! Cyber swung and connected with not only the face of Onigiri, but maybe the heart and soul of APAC for a second. And that was just so swift. And as I said, those sort of plays, it's not that they become predictable, but if you expect the chaos, you find yourself a little bit more receptive to it. DCH on the backside of Piano, droned out. There's a player on the upside down rappel, pre-firing the softs that he might be hiding behind. But otherwise, they're still waiting for this pressure.
Again, Onigiri missing that opportunity, hitting one of the shots in Cyber. And yes, he is down to 50 HP, but it should have been a kill. It should have been a free kill for the side of Elevate. And yet again, FaZe find their 5th entry here on this map. That is going to be their 11th total in these series. So FaZe doing a really good job here at opening up the rounds, opening up these games against Elevate. And as they headed to the bar, towards the top floor yet again, after FaZe were able to put that Ying plan, pull it off. They get a bit of a different setup on FaZe. It is going to be Decapitao, who is currently deploying some of these bolts. I don't know if there's smoke, if there... Yeah, that smoke coming through. Might have been asphyxiating first into the bathroom. They have a very long angle.
I was going to say, that's a rehearsed shot, isn't it?
That is actually right behind the benches as well. So that is going to be so much territory you suddenly cleared.
Well, as that starts to get popped open, you can see they've stepped up onto Lumber, but Cameraman is coming around from the opposite side. DCH, he's under a bout of pressure here. He's just trying to make some attention and draw some focus as more smokes pop, but so does Cyber. Astro's taken out in the meantime. Oh, Cyber, he is still doing Cyber things. There's one close right that he just sees and somehow gets 2! Cyber Zero with a quad, and Cameraman for the end, and FaZe for the round that pulls them ahead, 3-2.
I just wanted to give credit to the smoke that was deployed by Capitao. It might seem a bit weird, but it locked off any further lines aside that were coming down all the way from the cocktail balcony, allowing Cyber to take the fight purely onto planks here. Actually, no, it was a failed one. It looked from the top down that it was better, wasn't in the end. I tried to hype up the smoke and it failed. By the way, the quad kill came through in the end, and that is still an impressive feat here. And FaZe lead into 3-2, having the opportunity to lock off their attack with a 4-2 half. And Elevate, where they started as strong on the map here, it might seem like they're falling apart. Onigiri, who has been unable to find that entry, but has been engaged in it for 2 or 3 of the rounds, is not really having the same impact he had before.
He's been the entry death 3 times in a row, and the closest he got was that last time, and yeah, it was a heck of a swing against a lot of other players. That would have been a take, but against Cyber, it wasn't. And a quad kill bolsters him up. He's 6-2. You've had Astro firing off on cylinders throughout the game as well, and we're missing that connection right now from Elevate. A couple of players have been able to get little bites and nips on the 2 rounds that opened this up. But if they find themselves on the wrong side of a 4-2, it might put them in a bit of a tricky situation coming into the close here. The closer they get to the end of this, the longer it will feel. And it's worth sort of looking at the fact that You know, when it came around to it before, they were at least able to secure 3 of their defenses.
Yeah.
When it came to it, but they started on attack, and they only needed 3 with a 4-2 on their attack half. So a 4-2 to suffer on this end, theoretically, isn't entirely the end of the world.
It isn't the end of the world. They might still be able to turn it around out there, but it's definitely not looking good for them. E1D is being popped, and DCH is ready and waiting for a punch through that window, but Nay is going to be able to pick up the first kill. It's Astro that gets locked out. He tried to go quick through the window below and gets punished for it.
Hops down with the safety of the pillar, but it's on Aguirre to find Souls. Doubles down and gives Elevate a little bit more to work with here. They're sort of trying to meet a little bit more pressure. And with the success off the back of Nay finding his first for the game, he's got that confidence to go for the swing here. Cyber gets one back. DCH and E1D over the sky buys a little bit of a moment. They have obviously players on the far side, and that drone is just going to try and get a read, but it's a grenade onto Nay and on Aguirre, onto Cameraman. Outside on the mining spray with a second. Same window, 2 on that one with 1 outside, gets himself that triple, and now Cyber on the back line is looking for at least on Aguirre, finds him, gets him down, but no, before Sapper picks it back up. 3-3.
It was still a dangerous one, but that jump in there is so unfortunate. He jumped in, he realized, I done goofed up.
It's like the freeze frame.
Yeah, it's like, it was at this moment.
It was at this moment.
But yeah, 3-3, and round 7 soon underway. It is at least Elevate that lock off an even split after it started to get away from them. And they did so on the back of their first opening in this map. Nay Pew. Able to pew the opponent first. And now we're headed towards Bar to the top floor. That will be the first site that we will see on the side of FaZe. And Nerix is back on the Jackal. Now, we did see how effective he was in the game against Rogue. And he will probably do the exact same thing where he checks if there's any footsteps around. And if there is, he will be scanning them and trying to hunt down that roamer. It is up to FaZe to either completely ignore it or to try and play into it by going for a bait. I mean, if you shut them down in this round and you shut them down in the next, they might even swap off it because they are like, okay, this isn't really working. We need to change it up. Also, a fun little thing, neither of these teams have called a tactical timeout yet these last 2 maps.
I think that's it, as I was saying before, Elevate, they believe a 4-2 is fine. If they were to suffer the end of it, they're obviously able to swing it into a 3-3 either way. So their drive is happier on the attack here. FaZe, they were good on their defense. They were more than capable of keeping Elevate at bay before, and they're happy to try and continue that. They're going to see if they can play around windows too. But they're not going to stick it for as long and suffer the potential consequences.
I probably want to make sure that they stay alive just a little bit longer here. Don't risk anything. They are currently a map up right here, and if you start throwing away rounds, you can almost say by losing to spawn peaks, that is not something that will be very helpful for your journey back towards the grand final. Of course, got knocked down early by their Latam brethren, Liquid, who, I mean, they got so close last year, the runners-up, and weren't able to make it. Would that actually be SSG? Back then it was NIP as the runners-up when they were the champions. NIP won it the year after. Liquid were the runners-up. As it's in Aguirre that opens up right here, it's another entry for the side of Elevate. The point I wanted to make is, if Liquid win it now, then we have 3 years in a row where the runners-up take it, or 2 years in a row.
Well, that's a little bit ahead of ourselves.
It's a little bit ahead of ourselves. I just started thinking about that fact.
Hey, you think about that. You put that on the subreddit.
Not yet.
Well, Nay is putting himself inside the bottom of white, is able to take care of Cameraman, and the call from the E1D goes out to allow them a little bit more space and coverage. There's a single loose player on the far side of red. Drop down and they have the chance to rotate. Bullet's going to see if he can try and retake potentially a little bit of white before this flood starts to come through, but the flashes on Lumber means he's gone for a different rotate. That's Cyber.
Did they know? I don't think they know. He's going to swing around with a shotgun here. FaZe is out now close as well. It's the actual smoke that comes through. Deals a little bit of damage, but not quite enough. And Aguirre somehow takes none. Finds a kill, finds a double, brings it back to a 3-on-2. FaZe, they are still a man down, but at least the main pressure from white has been dropped, and so has the diffuser. Bullet picks up Sapper. And that brings us to that 2-on-2. It's Nerix and Onigiri. They have a lot of utility left to still try and get some information. And as they start swinging around that corner, it is going to be the question whether or not Nerix wins the first gunfight. Onigiri picks him up. It's only up to Bullet now.
Now he dropped the diffuser on the far side, and this has been a lot of quick moments and aggression. He's hiding, but he's tracked. They know the corner he's in. They know exactly where he's at, and Elevate. They have some heat and some energy. It is them back in the lead in the driver's seat, taking the first attack, scrappy in a skirmish. But it's theirs, and it's 4-3. They take it, they take the lead here and have the opportunity to fight back for their own map win. That smoke, I thought it was going to do more damage to Onigiri, who I believe was on his drone at that time, but wasn't actually the case. Didn't take damage. Stayed alive, got the refrag, ensured them of a potential to still win that round. And even though the diffuser got dropped, the scans coming in clutch there, able to find out he is right behind the whiskey bar. There he is. Unfortunate. Now there's only one angle out. Frame. And it was at this moment. Yeah, I mean, we've seen them run the Jackal so well. We've seen them run the Jackal on this map earlier against Rogue on their attacks. As I said, it was much scrappier this time round, and that flank, there was the moment when that first SMG ripped, and you were like, do they know? And then it was, they don't know. But obviously, Onigiri being monumental and being able to pull that back in, one engagement going the other way, and that could have very easily been a FaZe round. And they're going to still stack themselves up with the support of top, but it's obviously for that mid-site hold. You still need the verticality. We've said it many a times today.
We have. And Onigiri's on a bit of a roll again, where he's struggled a little bit after he's been opening killed upon 3 times in a row. He's finding himself with 11 kills now.
It's just out of nowhere.
It's just out of nowhere. Suddenly, the fire has been ignited yet once again, and he starts his journey to bring Elevate across the finish line yet once again. And they want to do that this map, because otherwise they're out. They need to win this map, just to be clear for everybody. After that, they'll head to Villa if they get that far, and they might be able to knock out FaZe.
FaZe, they're getting themselves structured inside reading, and you obviously still get the idea they're trying to control the space as best as possible. But look at Nay with the chance on the Ying, and look at this, they're already in train, they're droning it out, but the pings are there. They're well aware that Onigiri's been able to stack this close, finds the first engagement and suffers, but so does Astro. Neither has the option for any help at this point in. It's just going to see if they can try and let someone else be that front line, but Onigiri has to sit and hold and wait for Sapper to come up the bottom of White. With Vertical still away from them, pulls away at the worst second, but Onigiri picks him up at the best moment. The tracks are coming around inside reading itself. They still have that structural hold above. As I said before, it seemed like Elevate want to try and cut it off at the pass, but it just means the control of Cyber is going to rotate its way slowly towards White.
They still don't have an entry onto the actual side itself. There's a lot of long angles they need to be worried about on the side of Elevate, but with the opening there, Onigiri still managed to find an Astro being this low on HP. Everything that touches him will die at this moment in time. A swing around the corner will come in. I think that might be the Candelas to lead in this push as well, but the injury comes through from the top of the stairs. It's Bullets that finds him and slows down the push magnificently here. DCH also taking a lot of damage. Elevate, they stay alive for now, before the first kills start coming through.
Well, there it is. All the pings come against them. Souls and Astro find one apiece, and Nay is picked back up, but there's not really much else in the canister. Neither can be said the same for Onigiri. He's trying to find a scrappy firefight at this point, but generally the hands are in FaZe's favor. They've been able to lock the door of that fireplace. They have the width of the swing as well, because they can do that. They can go via Zulu corner, and they can now spray back towards the back line. Onigiri with a great take onto the first, but 3 more to find in 45 seconds, and one of them's about to swing on the door. Cyber, he's eyeing it up, but the pings are also back and forth. Oh! Onigiri had that read. And now it's down to see if he can have... Nope.
No, we don't complete that sentence there. It's FaZe that gets that round, brings it back to 4 apiece. 14 kills currently on Onigiri, and most of those have been happening in the last 4 rounds. He's on fire. Even though it didn't lend them the round, didn't give them the round this time around, it is dangerous when that man is coming aflame and is starting to rise up here. For the side of Elevate, for the hearts of APAC, Onigiri is that hope that they have that Elevate might be able to live through this game.
Bar Cocktail. Back to the top, they think they've learned the lesson of what they suffered on the first time round here, and FaZe are going to see if they can keep themselves more in control. Try and limit the drones with the Mozzie, the Melusi to slow the roll, and the Echo. Potentially as that roaming intel in front of a big fragger, or just as that last ditch. It does have options and little corners you can hide those drones in to try and stop a plant on Kafe. It sort of has a little bit of a joint showing in both an aggressive intel gathering item, and then as just that last ditch, last hope. I'm downstairs, but my drones sure aren't.
That could be it. I mean, that's often it, right? Like, as soon as the pressure starts to arise and you start losing these battles, you just see the Echo making sure that he gets out of there as quickly as he possibly can, especially if there's only 20 seconds left on that board, because that is when those yokais become so efficient, so effective. And now Ekka's favorite saying is,
efficiency is clever laziness.
Yes, exactly. Not sure how lazy it is to run through an entire building to be safe, but hey, you know, it works out for him.
It depends. You can jump.
You can jump. That's just a single press of a button. But 4-4 and Elevate, they are still equal. And it looked for a while that FaZe were starting to get back into it. After round 3 and 5 entries in a row for FaZe, now you were a bit worried for Elevate. Even though they did have those 2 first rounds, you're never quite sure. And as Nagiri putting up that Claymore is starting to put up some pressure up on the top floor here. He's hoping for a bit of a jump out. He's hoping for a bit of aggression to come through from Cyber. It really depends on what window it will be, because he prepped the one that hasn't been Claymored off.
Cyber's heading his way all the way down to the bottom of red, and they played some rotates before, but it's just a caution, as you said, if they try and go for a hop out, where they're going to decide to do it, because there is a little bit of half danger. DCH is making sure nobody comes on the swing on white. As they try and get some control here on the top of red, there's the reveal of the Mozzie. He's deep down in the basement, and it's very different to how they approached with the Jackal before against Rogue, where they started the Jackal off by himself. They don't trust themselves on a solo roam off the same way they had that confidence against the EU opponents earlier.
Nerix already pushed himself down those red stairs. He's looking to hunt down Cyber at this manner. He's chasing these footsteps, and as he's slowly swinging around the corner, he will now know. All right, he's right over in the corner. He's a bit confused, but finds him either way before the C4 pops. It's the entry for Elevate, and that will be very helpful in the remainder of this round.
Well, he's about to find Cameraman, and Cameraman found him, but Onigiri found the kill onto Astro in the meantime, and that was the difference. As I said previously, they sort of sent him in by himself and worked his bottom way to the top. Here, they went top down. Nerix chased them from that hatch all the way to the bottom, and there's a scrappy fight, but it's Onigiri that comes off worse for wear. Bullet goes for a bit of an aggressive retake on the territory and finds some success. But it's a little bit of a question mark there on the control that they had over Lounge, over the Cigar. It means they're going to have to rotate some bodies around, potentially try and hit themselves onto that close whiskey window. Cameraman, in the meantime, he's able to slip his way back up. He sort of went for a second onto a hunt, onto DCH, who still has 2 grenades in pocket. Maybe try and stop that reverse vertical that's about to start depth charging its way towards the top. The player gone, moved off, and Nerix is going to make sure nobody goes for the flank with the remaining 40 seconds.
Need to still go up to the top floor, mind you. 2 players below. Currently, Sapper is, I think, on the roof. I'm not quite sure. It's Nade that pushes through, however, and FaZe that respond with a bullet rain coming through. Spots are still coming out, but the 2 remaining players are not near the site as of yet. The diffuser needs to be recovered as well, and as Nerix takes quite a bit of damage, he has to turn off that Inox sensor, because you just get a little bit of blurred view when you do start to take that damage. 10 seconds left on the clock. He doesn't find the first, but Cameraman gets traded out, but not before Bullet finishes him off either. And that means that FaZe continue their round winning spree, put it back up to 2 here, and put themselves up to 5-4. But nothing is over yet, because it looked for a while that Elevate was actually in the lead for this round.
That's it, FaZe. They have that ability to bite their way back into a round, and well, that is 2 in a row. They've been able to make sure that the lead that was briefly enjoyed by Elevate is kind of instantly retaken. And now only 1 round separates them from potential series point here in Kitchen. As well, they'll see if they can lock it off. But obviously, if this drops, then Reading reopens. The first site they're able to get some success on after doubling down on Bar to find it, dropping it the first time round. Elevate. Still no timeout. Still no time to have a conversation. They think heads together they can crack this puzzle. They think they want to keep moving, keep momentum. They think that they can keep this pace up, and it's up to them to do it. As I said at the start, it's a do-or-die series. We're getting very, very closer to that ominous moment of it being a do-or-die round.
That's it. Once FaZe reaches 6, it is going to be that do or die moment. You either win 2 rounds in a row afterwards, or 1, depends on how it will go, or you will be sent home. After an impressive feat against Rogue earlier today, where you eliminated the one-to-last EU team, you are now the last standing APAC representative here. And everybody knows it, and everybody's cheering for Elevate. Everybody wants them to continue because we want to see APAC succeed. And whereas many would have expected it would have been Damwon Kia, who knows, it might be Elevate who reaches new heights for the side of APAC.
Long sight lines all the way out here on default cams being dropped. Nastro hits a window, but doesn't go for anything beyond it. Maybe expected some fire to come back. There is a player that's on mining window, and they're sort of waiting potentially for a swing to come around or a bit of support, but Cyber in the meantime gets a lockdown underneath. They can't quite get the trade out. They've pulled themselves back into Harry Potter, a pre-fire on the corner, but another body's coming down to offer some support. Cyber suffers through on the side there, gets just a little bit more done, but there is pings on the backside. You can see the player at the bottom of Brown Stairs holding off the rotation. They might see if they can cut them off at the pass, round on the backside, but it's still the site itself. They don't just have free reign of movement. They don't just have the confidence entirely, but they sure have a lot of gun skill. There it is. DCH, a bite from the bottom of white, and an EU on D just to breathe.
Just to slow it down a little bit there, ensure that FaZe cannot instantly push for a refrag. The big danger, however, is the verticality that FaZe currently has. 2 men above the prep area here, so as soon as they start pushing through, it is going to be a bit of a trap. They're going to be picked up one by one if they do, unless they find the angles before, and it seems where Cyber Zero is sitting quite low here. It is actually a pre-fire to come in from the side of Nerix as well. They're trying to find these kills. DCH gets a bit surprised. What is happening? Cyber double kill! DCH! Cyber Zero misses the shots with the shotgun, and it's DCH that just finds a double as a response. Boots himself up onto 5 until it's a 4-2. Elevator looking to equalize the score here and bring it back to a 5-5.
No way! DCH, and I don't even think he believes he just pulled that off. They go for the swing into the drone. They pull themselves back. Just over a minute left. And with the 2 players back on the site and more pings and more E1Ds coming out, it's actually DCH and Nerix that suffer, but they pick up souls, leaving just Cameraman, but not for very long. Elevate. They bring it back level 5 apiece.
DCH in dining there, so important for that round. Picking up those 2 kills. And they are so hyped about it. Look at the smile on Agiri's face. It's just like, yeah, we're getting back into this. We're going to a map 3, believe it or not. And Astro is now picking the Kavera, but I think that might be 6 picked up. Or they're bluffing it. No, I don't know. Okay.
There it is.
I was going to say they might be bluffing it. Narix is off the actual
But you remember
Jackal,
Prano.
Yeah, you remember Prano. He was able to upset the Signs of Elevate.
They watched the game. And that's the thing. FaZe obviously watched the game. They obviously had a read on this. Whether they fully expected Kafe to make it through or not, they're prepared from recent play. And here, Elevate, they're keeping themselves fighting. Onigiri is 15-7.
He could have almost hit 16 if it 2 rounds ago back on the bar. It was just a singular bullet away from making him be still alive and him hitting those 16 kills. So there's so many little things. Little moments that prevent him from rising above himself. So do the 3 entry kills that he was the victim of, for example. Imagine if he was alive in those rounds. He could have been already past the 27 kills right now.
Well, there will be a very quick rehost.
Okay.
Coming down. And, well, apparently a sound bug is the call, and it's a moment for them to have a moment this close to the end. Super Onigiri seems a little bit surprised.
I think he needed to put his headset back on. He took it off. You're not allowed to do that, I think.
Oh.
Sound cancelling headsets.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Either way, as a result, you know, we'll quickly get back into it. It's just to get the lobby back going. Everybody needs to get back in.
What we can fill time with is a result from the other stream.
Oh, can we now? What is the result? Because I missed that one.
Cover your ears.
Headset at least, because he still has it off. So we know that it wasn't that.
It was a headset issue. Cover your ears if you don't want to know what's going on the other side. 3, 2, 1.
Yep.
Dark 0. 2-0.
2-0.
No? Yeah? I was told it, and then Dez looked at me and literally shook his head. No, it was 2-0. I know, Dez. I know.
What's happening now? What is the scoreline? Is it 2-0?
It was 2-0.
Okay. What is it? Confusing me. What?
On this one, Des.
It's 1-0 FaZe.
Sorry, stream.
Sorry, stream. We're
However many thousands of people. Derry's over here.
It's a 1-0.
It's what they.
It's 5-5.
So it's 5-5 on map 2.
Onigiri's on 16 kills again. Yeah, he's starting to show up, and he's been entry killed 3 times. So imagine if he hasn't. All right, that's a big summary.
All right, he's gone now.
He's gone now.
Sorry about that. It was our mate Des. You might see him sometimes.
They just burst into the studio every now and then, right?
Just break him.
They just ask, what's going on here?
Okay, 5-5 right now, and it's time for talk. Obviously, it was a bit of a headset malfunction, and by the fact that it was Super Onigiri's that wasn't on, as you said, it was likely his that was broken, that they didn't quite have the call. So we're just getting everything rehosted, reset, and retracked up. It's going to be a little bit longer than the previous headset one, which was on the first round, because this one we've got to input all of the rounds once again. So we'll let Sayano, the NA observer.
No pressure.
No pressure.
All eyes on you. Just our eyes, by the way. It's not like everybody sees it. It's just us two. He's double checking.
Double checking. Triple checking, probably.
Quadruple checking.
APAC.
Best back.
A little bit nervous right now. A little bit nervous. 2 rounds separate. You from a third map, but also you from being knocked out by Latin America. And FaZe, one-time major winners this year, could also still be one of those teams swinging and fighting for that hammer.
That could be it. They could still fight for the hammer, and it's not over yet. And neither is it for Elevate. They could still bring it back here as well. And they started doing that. It's 5-5 on the second map, Kafe. Of course, we still have a giant performer in the terms of Onigiri. This time with just a mere 15 kills. You know, nothing too major. And the map isn't even over yet, though. And then that is, I think, the scary part. Honestly, we joked at the start, you know, what about we just start to break our own record? And it seems like he's actually going to try for it now. And the man is absolutely insane today. I don't know what it is. I don't know what he got for breakfast, but I think the Elevate needs to make sure he eats the exact same tomorrow if they live through this match.
He wasn't on the first map, and that was a bit of a problem.
He wasn't on the first 2 maps in the previous game versus Rogue either, so it's, you know.
Maybe we get a third map. Maybe we get a third map showing no one's ever believed in. Maybe a fabled 30 bomb.
Imagine.
Only in the records of off-stream, off-competition games. There he is.
Yeah. Never yet at a Tier 1 event. This is actually, you know, he broke the SI record as well, so he holds that one. I don't know what the SI record was, but that would be quite funny to break the world record twice a day. You know, it's no big deal.
But in fairness, I'm sure, I am 100% this will be an argument across a lot of people, because
yeah, it's not really broken, and it's a
matched.
did it first.
It's matched. It's joint. I'm not gonna sit on any side. I'm just gonna weigh in right now, because I know a lot of people will.
Yeah.
About what means more. What's the matter more? Who was the stronger opponent? Yada yada. I don't care. It was 2 fantastic performances.
It was
to get 27.
It definitely was. And
celebrate them both. Stop arguing. People, I assume, are arguing.
I mean, there's multiple arguments being pulled up.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care about that.
You have the same in F1.
Yeah, well, this is an F1.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, you know, Schumacher has 7 silver world championships, but he did before Lewis Hamilton. So everybody's still like, Schumi is still the greatest of all time.
They're both great.
They're both great. And so are these 2. You don't see Paolo now. It would be insane, actually, if grand final would be Paolo versus Onigiri in a 1v1 battle to just close it out.
Then
Winner takes the title, and they take the record.
Then maybe we'd get a best of 5. Then maybe we'd get a best of 5 record.
That might be. Either way, it is taking just a little bit here to get everything back on the way. Round 10 is just played. Was won by the side of Elevate, and that puts us into a 5-on-5 situation. Right now, the players are having quite a bit of fun. They're relaxing, they're laughing, they're smiling.
Gotta keep the energy up.
And that's good. When you see, like, when you have this long of a timeout, and everybody is just focused, just having dead stares right into the camera, and then you kind of know it's over already.
Hey, what's up? It's us.
It's us, indeed.
It's us, the two people that you probably don't want to hear right now, but obviously they're still getting things sorted. And with everything on the line, with how important this is, and with how close we are to it being over, you got to ensure that everything is good. You got to ensure that everything's running. You got to make sure, yeah, it's good to get back in. And this is time, as you said, it's high energy. It is keeping yourself smiling, keeping yourself moving.
You have to keep yourself moving, indeed. And that is the important part. And before we head back into Kafe, these two teams, they need to make sure that everything is set right. Everybody needs to be in that same mindset. And that is the important part here. And sometimes things just don't go as well. Sometimes the reset, like, just takes you out of that focus.
And that's it. And it's, we'll get it done. We'll be back in momentarily again. And it sort of feels that anticipation because we want to keep going. We obviously cast the Elevate game earlier on in the day. We've cast FaZe a handful of times across the board and in Yavle, where FaZe were able to make a fantastic run. And it's all that's sort of said about the region as the year that Latin America has had starting. And I know SI is the full stop at the end of the year. You work throughout a year and then you finish at SI, but it's also a statement at the start of a year. It's February.
It is.
You sort of say, this is how we're going to, over this next period of time with the Kings.
It's that weird period where SI is the end of our esports year, but it's still at the start of the calendar year.
Yeah.
So it's like, at this moment, we are, until next SI, the world champions. And of course, both these teams want to reach that glory.
But it's a sandwich. It's a sandwich of success that Latin America wants to make.
Well, what's the bottom part, SI?
Another SI.
Oh, so you want
SI, every single major, including one that FaZe took.
the filling?
It's the delicious filling.
All right, yeah.
The delicious filling for Latin America is a sandwich of majors. And APAC, they want to be the sort of, they want to bite. They want a taste of this massive success because they're a region that's grown. The fact that they're here taking titles, taking little moments, and obviously Damwon Gear, if you missed it, they've fallen.
They're out.
They're out. I'm afraid.
Unfortunately.
If you hadn't heard that, I'm sorry to break the bad.
Yeah.
Bad news.
I was actually quite upset about that because I haven't had to cast DK all tournament.
Hey, you shouldn't have shown up, mate.
Honestly, they would have won it by then. I mean, as soon as I shown up, everything started going downhill.
Yeah,
for
apparently
them.
so.
Sometimes you just have that effect. Some break records and some fall into knockouts.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It is what it is. But soon we will be headed back into the game as soon as everything is set and ready to go. And it is 2 rounds left. It is round 11 where it's all equalized here.
Yep.
5-5. Whoever wins this has that map point or a match point available to them depending on which team it is. FaZe, of course, have that first match, which means that if they do take the next round, they have everything to play for. And everything to lose for will be on the side of Elevate, who cannot afford a mistake at that moment in time.
That's it. It's 5-5. If you are joining us right now, you are in the midst of map 2, and the first map went very close. So we'll go with a quick interview that we've got of the team that is currently 1 map up and 2 rounds away from progressing.
My name is Cameraman. I'm the IGL captain of FaZe Clan. We had a not too recent roster change when I was playing in MIBR and I came back to FaZe. The roster change was fundamental because we found 5 people, including me, 5 people that had the same connection, the same goal. So it's easier to play with people like that. Comparing this roster to the others, I think this is a really good one, as I said, because of how easy it is to talk to them and how easy they get what I'm saying, and the staff as well. But mostly because we have great players, we have Cyber, we have Astro, we have Souls, like they know what to do when they have to do. So it's easy. The feeling to be back in Sweden, we just won the major, so I hope that the magic's still here, but we don't have the pressure like we don't feel the pressure. We have a lot of fun playing, and I didn't have that in quite a few years. So we try to divide the time of relaxing, laughing, and get serious. When you mix that in a match, during the match, I don't know, it feels great. When I think about winning 6 Invitational, there's nothing in my mind. I don't even can imagine that. It's too much for me. But at the same time, I think we are really capable of. So it's a strange feeling. My expectation is to end the first in the group stage. But after that, only God knows.
You see this? This is ours.
Take it easy on us. We are beginners, so that's it.
And we should be back after that. The players are back. The lobby is loading in. The numbers are fixed, and so is the machines.
Oh, I can't keep track anymore. I need to write down how many kills in a gear you had.
Yeah, you got to do maths now.
15.
Sorry, bud. Wow. Were you sure it wasn't 16?
No, it was 15.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't want to stress you out here, but if you get this wrong, there's so many people that...
15.
Okay, it's locked in now.
I'll ask the analysts who might be watching. Please check the vault and confirm.
Please count.
I think it was 15.
Please count and send it via postcard to hap@Sweden. And it will find its way here.
Use a magic pigeon or something.
Magic pigeon?
I don't know. I mean, if you just say Sweden, it's a pretty big country.
But a magic pigeon.
Yeah, no,
why was that the first bird?
Medics. I know he's not observing right now, but just pigeon is so ingrained into my brain.
Good news. Oh no. That's not good news on a gear.
That's not good news.
Why would you deliver it this way?
Well,
we'll... Oh, sad face from cameraman. Saddest faces from us. Another rehost, and you can see a little bit of a sigh there. I love how I love how he said, good news.
Good news. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Do you have something to share with the world?
Oh my God, why is
he's smiling about it.
He's still smiling.
He's so happy about it. He's like, I'm doing this to everybody here.
And they're laughing with the admin. they're like, I can't believe this has happened.
I don't know. It seems like there's a bit of agitation here at FaZe.
I mean, I think they just want to play Siege. I don't think it said anything in particular. They're just like, oh, come on. We were close. We were almost there. I'm so sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
We want to see this as much as you do. They want to play this as much as you do. We've got to take into consideration, I'm smiling and laughing about this, A, because it's kind of funny how he delivered that, but B, we haven't seen too many of these.
No, we haven't seen too many of these, indeed. And that is what makes it wonderful to some extent. You get to see a little bit into the books of the players, where they how they deal with these situations as well, whereas Elevated is all joking around, smiling and having fun. You see FaZe is trying to get back into that focus.
Famos.
Yeah, the Famouses are being put in right here. They're ready to go again. It's actually it was Anagiri that typed it. Look at how he's...
Okay, we're loading back into the lobby. Please, boys, save the clapping until we're in and in a round. Please.
Save it for now.
The admins are still there. And
this makes me anxious. What's going on? What's he looking at? They're watching, seeing if everything works out. Okay, yeah.
Yeah?
No rehost coming in yet.
They're checking.
We're checking.
It's like when you look to the referee and it's like check. It's like VAR. It's like checking.
Do we go again, or was this one nice? Was this one good?
I do not want to see good news.
Nothing going in. He might just type good news and then say no rehost needed.
Like at this point, we're listening in as well because we don't have the game sound. We just have the sound of the computers and like the keyboards to make sure that everything's good. We're good.
We're good.
We're in.
We are in. We are gone.
Oh, okay, now everybody can clap. 5-5. We are so sorry about that. Sometimes these things happen. I guess, as I was saying before, for this tournament, I'm going to touch wood now because obviously we've barely had any Rios. It's
now
really,
you said it.
No, I know. That's why I touched wood at the same time.
Yeah.
It's okay. I undid the luck. Oh, I undid the bad luck.
Yeah.
It would come through.
Otherwise, Demo will come in and do
I've-
exorcism or something.
We've had as many rehosts as a duo, at least, or at least I've cast, whether there were days that you weren't here, as times that we've had to stop because players injured themselves. Because there's been like 2 injuries I've been casting. There was one where there's one where somebody cut their thumb, and there was one where I think a player accidentally exploded their or opened their hand warmer, and it had to be cleaned up. That might have been before you were here.
Well, it was definitely before I was here. I was like, what am I hearing?
Yeah.
Absolutely no clue. I mean, I casted someone breaking his hand. Or actually, it wasn't me. It was someone else, but I was watching.
We'll save that story for later.
We'll save that for later.
With 30 seconds in, and the approach has finally started to hit its way onto the top floor. Bullet, he's looked behind the Goyo just on Pixel. He's waiting to see if he can smell some of the approach that might come across the top. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit of warming back in for this, and both teams being sort of neck and neck. It's been a bit of a back and forth, and there's a pre-place there underneath the hatch as the drones. I mean, Sapper might be able to get the call on that and the read.
Might be indeed. Minute has passed. Utilities being used by either side. One of the smoke canisters already pushed through as grenades are coming in as well now. Won't find their targets. One of them actually picked up in cameraman. An opening onto Nate with a C4, a pre-placed one.
There it is.
That will find the Zofia. So a little utility off the board for the side of Elevate.
Okay, just to put you back into the consideration of how much is on the line right now, this is the last APAC team, and these are the last 2 rounds that they have to try and lock this in. The Maestro over the top of the bar, but there's a second player about to swing in. Nerek's able to get one, looks for the second, can't get the connection. He's going wider and wider, though. It's a very scrappy fight on the single wall, and there's a close grenade just to force the movement, but Soul's still able to get it, but there's the trade out. DCH keeps it level. The 3 versus 3 almost slipped away over the top of the bar there. Wasn't prepped for just a little drop down. And with a minute left, they've finally been able to at least find some battle back. A slip through in a rotation. The pre-fire just a little bit too high for Astro, who's made sure he has a bit more width onto the hold, and now he's going to see if he can slip on by. But the pings were here before, so he's being a lot of caution paid towards the pillar's corner.
Gets more information now, knows who's right behind the train. As Astro heard that drone, he'll take it out. Tries to move back in, but it is, of course, Enigiri that is currently locked into his position. 40 seconds left, and as he moves through back towards these holes that have been created before, he finds himself back into a safe ground area near that laundry machine. Of course, has to be very careful about the hatch to be opened up, but also about Enigiri that's about to be pressuring the 90 area. DCH right above as well. Enigiri is looking to pick up some more kills. He's looking to provide some chaos to whatever it is that FaZe wants to achieve here with 15 seconds left on the clock. He goes down. Certainly it's only up to Sepper now. He wanted to go for a plant, but they get shut down, and FaZe, they clean up that 3 versus 3 without taking any losses.
6-5. 1 round separates APAC from losing their last representative. 1 round separates FaZe from moving forward in the lower bracket, preparing themselves to a fight, and it's still scrappy. We might still see a third map here. Fireplace was potentially, but it's swapped out to Bar instead. A site that they're able to win before. They're not going to try and dabble on the mid-floor. They think...
What is
Please.
No.
No.
They can't choose site, but they just changed.
What?
They went from reading to Bar, and they said they can't choose site. Questionable things are going on, not quite sure. We might have to head for another round here.
What side did they...
They're Bar cocktail now. However, they probably want us to go for a different site.
But... Okay, maybe I shouldn't have said it.
You shouldn't have said it.
I'm so sorry.
It is what it is, and we just continue through as Emmy tries to crawl away in shame.
I'm so sorry, everybody. The players couldn't... Oh, they couldn't pick their spawn.
You mean the defenders?
Oh.
I'm
lost. I'm not going to try and make sense of it, but I want to watch them see.
As it is. And there's not much to talk about for the 1 round we've seen. Enigiri's still in 15 kills.
I know,
So
he's not going to break the kill record, but he might break the
well, he might still.
What's the rehost record?
I don't know, but still potentially 20 kills left to be gained.
Yeah.
So it could still happen. It's unlikely, but We know. I mean, it could go through.
You know, I'm assuming, actually, I guess I'm just going to ask production now in this moment of this rehost. Are we on the A stream as well right now? The A stream game, I think, is done.
Yeah, but it might be doing some analysis.
Oh, yeah, there might be the breakdown.
Yeah.
They get, like, their breakdown and our breakdown here. But ours is
have a different breakdown.
Ours is a different style. Ours is a different style of breakdown.
Yeah. How do you know, by the way, FaZe is currently on a match point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something.
There's a fun fact. There is one round.
Singular round?
There's 1 round left in this game.
Well, don't say that.
Over the past...
We got 4 rehosts for a single round.
We've had 4 rehosts for 2 rounds.
Yeah, and there's still 1 left in the regulation here, and who knows? We might see the end of it. At the end of it, as in when the timer runs out, it's over and FaZe wins. But we could also still see overtime being forced. Why is Elevate called Castle in the lobby? Is this a silent hint?
I think that's a mistake.
That's a mistake.
Okay, you guys can't see it. I'm going to call out our observer for a second, Cyano, because you almost made us have to have another reset for calling them Castle, not their team name. Thank you, Hap, for catching that.
Yeah.
Because if we had to do another one...
I mean, I think at that moment in time,
right
we would have
now.
just gone for it.
If we had to do another one, I would have cried. Okay, the players also started pointing it out as well. So
Yeah.
there's some laughs in the chat coming from both teams. You guys can't see it. You can see their expressions though. I'm so sorry, everybody.
Right now,
We will be. We'll be back in. We'll be back in as soon as we can be. And let me try and stop laughing and bring a little bit of this heat and this temperature back in, because although they're having fun and although we're having fun, we need to also just put it down how important this is and how there's 1 round. It's 1 round. It's 1 round that separates us into OT. And then it's 3 rounds that separates us from map 3. But it's only 1 round that separates us from just it is over. And for all that Elevate has done, they have already performed fantastically. Let's not take anything out of this from their performance. The work that they've put in over groups, getting to this stage, taking down bigger teams or teams that people might have thought was a bit of a write-off, it could be a different story. There's claps.
Claps, fist bumps coming out. You know what that means?
I think, yeah, you guys are learning the lessons.
You're learning the lesson here. That means we're getting back into the game.
What's pick off rounds?
Hopefully.
Yeah, like I don't want to confirm anything until we're in it, but
no. Okay. We're not in it.
yeah, I don't know if you could pick that up from that reaction.
I think you saw it. I think it's coming through. This is definitely going to be a bit of a longer issue to come in. It might just require a full restart. At this point, have you tried turning it on and off again? You know, it's don't break down yet, Emmy.
I'm just
still have a potential full map to go.
No, I know that. I want to conserve my energy.
All right, you're just sitting down.
Because I think that's the thing is there's still so much weight to this. There's still so much pressure. There's still so much power in this game. And I want to make sure I keep that thread in and amongst all of this because it's so important. Because the players are laughing. The energy's still there, and we talked about the importance of making sure that stays up. And to be fair, I don't think there's a single moment we haven't seen Elevate having a great time here.
No, they're smiling all around, and every single time we're doing... Can we do a rock, paper, scissors instead, is what I need.
Yeah, it's just
are they going into it? That's better. All right, well, maybe that will sort it out in the end right away. For now, we are still waiting. We're still waiting to continue with this match here. And as everything is being prepared.
We'll check the team names as well.
Check the team names.
When it gets confirmed.
We'll see. We'll make sure we'll do the double check with Ciano because he's been doing this 6 times in a row right now.
Yeah, I think obviously observers have very long days. I think
they have very long days.
Those little fun mistakes, they're fine because they start very early. Our 3 amazing observers, Cyano, Medics, and Easy.
Yeah.
And they have a very long run of it.
They make some of the longest days.
Yeah. I think that there's this part where I'm at right now where, regardless of how this goes, I'm not on the post show today.
No, I'm not either.
No. Dez is.
He's on casting already, though, so he's, he can chill a little bit before.
No, but obviously...
He has to wait until this game's over.
Yeah, he can't do anything until this is done.
It's going to be a very interesting topic, by the way, so
Might
I
even be a third match.
assure all of you to watch that.
Yeah, we'll leave that.
But we aren't there yet. We're still waiting for that very final round number 12 to be played. Now it could either go in FaZe's way and then the map and match is over, and that leaves us with just 4 to go in stage 2 of SI. But it could also be elevated, we go to OT.
It could be an OT, and that's the thing. We also still might have a third map.
We might still have a third map.
We might still have a third map on the card. We might still have
Villa,
which, could be a bit spicy because it's a hefty map, Villa. It's a big, heavy play space. When you're at the end of a long day, you suddenly find, 10 feet is 100 when you're in a long day.
It is. It's definitely a lot. Especially with the delays that are coming in right now, you're being taken out of your focus, and that could either benefit Elevate or it could benefit FaZe.
I'm not going to say what's...
I'm not going to say
No. The players are still talking to each other, but note that they're doing their best to keep
the fun in.
Keep the fun in. Hopefully we're in soon. And that's sort of where we're at right now.
Yeah, we're just waiting. We're just filling. For those of you who wonder, what are these two talking about? There's absolutely nothing useful coming out of this.
Should we recap this map so far? Because we're going to go back in.
Recap the entire series if you want.
Well, let's just do this map. Let's just do this map for now. So the first half was Elevate's defense, and it was 3-3. They were able to find success on Barn reading and reading again at the very end of the split. But then there was that core middle section where FaZe not only got the entry kill every single time on Onigiri in quite quick fashion. That was the disconnect there. Onigiri was off the board within the opening 30-40 seconds every single time.
Yeah.
They found the only plant of this showdown, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's the first plant in...
Yeah.
What is it?
There wasn't a plant on
14
Bank.
rounds or something like that?
Yeah, there wasn't a plant on Bank. Yet again, this game has shown up here from them where there wasn't a plant on Bank. The second half that we've seen, it's been a little bit of a juggle of sites. Bar was the first hold, and it was a success by Elevate on the top floor. Reading and Bar then went away. It went into FaZe's favor. And Kitchen was a take by Elevate to get themselves to 5-5.
Yeah.
And then back to a reading success.
Now we've seen quite some big plays in this series as well. Cyber with a 4K in round number 5, and Onigiri with an important 3K on the attack on round 6 as well. And that was really when he started to liven up, right? Because he was on like 5-6 kills the entire time. But from round 6 onwards, he pushed himself towards 15 of the last remaining rounds. And if you haven't noticed yet, he tied the all-time best of one tier 1 kill record, we have to say. 27 kills. Equal the Palu.
It was great.
Yeah, it was great.
It was fantastic.
I like the graphic they showed on the command center as well, where they pulled up the stats from Palu back then.
That's a very cool graphic.
Yeah, I hope we get to see more of that in the future.
It's a very, very cool graphic.
But we need to see more kill records to be broken for it. And at some point, we run out of kills to be broken. We have to increase the amount of rounds in the match before that happens. But yeah, there has been a lot of individual decisive moments in this game so far. And whereas FaZe won their defensive rounds due to shutouts before they actually reached the site, the rounds that were won were on the back of some swift and decisive takes from the side of Elevate. So that is something they need to work on here. That is something they need to push for. Of course, the question is, can they? They've been taken out of their concentration a little bit here. We played round 11, which was won by FaZe. So it is currently 6-5 in favor of FaZe. And they just need that extra round on the board.
They do.
And with that, Elevate need just that extra, just a little bit extra to push us to OT. Round 12 is what we wait for here. Round 12 is all that is left before we figure out if we have a winner or if we get 3 more rehosts. Rounds. Everything is starting to confuse me now.
I mean, it's the end of a long day. I was just quickly looking. It's obviously... It's out here in Sweden, 20 to 11.
Yep, it is.
And our day starts at about 7 in the morning for us on the...
It did. I could sleep in a little bit longer because...
Oh, okay.
But I didn't sleep as much.
Oh, I feel so bad for you. The Players' Day, obviously, there has been a little bit more length to it. Everybody sort of starts quite early on, and then from that point onwards, it goes on to a very different scenario. And here, you're at the tail end of it, and we might not even be at the end of it. Let's just sort of weigh that up once again. For all the times that we'll repeat it, is that we are just one round away here from either the potential end or the potential OT to a potential third map. Kafe Dostoyevsky obviously was the map choice, the map selection here for the last remaining hope of the Asia-Pacific region, Elevate. It was where they wanted to go after the success they had before. Look at this. It's a wonderful little round breakdown that you have across the bottom as well. The 4-2 on the turn of the half.
Yep.
And only the singular plant that has otherwise been put down beforehand.
Yeah, for sure. Just that singular round that is necessary now. FaZe need to find one more. And if they do, they proceed through the lower bracket. And if they don't, Elevate is going to push us towards an OT. And everything is starting to slow down a little bit here. Oh, they're starting to cheer. You see that?
No, boys, don't cheer.
Yet. All the high fives are coming through. Do not cheer. We don't know
until we are there.
Oh, yeah, they're finally coming through. I don't know if they hear, but we hear that.
We hear that. We hear the players. And it's one of the first times we've heard something.
Can they pick? They can pick. There you have it.
Okay.
No arms are going up yet.
No arms are going up. I think if they needed to be another rehost, there would be a lot more visual action.
But we don't know yet because we haven't gotten into the actual round. We might still have someone that wasn't able to. I think that was one of the issues we had before. So we'll just wait patiently. But everything should be good. Hope it didn't cast a cruise it. Either way, round 12 will soon be on the way. Kitchen and service will be the site that we will see. And the question here is, it is not so much anymore about momentum. It is about who gets into this round the best. Who has been able to keep their focus and momentum. Who has been able to snap back into it the best. Because at some point you will lose that focus. You'll lose that determination. And as we are on the way, it seems...
Oh my god, we're there.
We're there.
We're there.
We will get round 12. Let's just hope that
can we just
nothing breaks after this.
Can we just enjoy a moment of siege audio just for a second?
Yeah, we got the shotgun shells going out. We got the barbed wire that gets deployed. Drones that jump around. This is such a pleasant noise to hear.
Ah, there it is.
There it is. The good old
siege,
the good old destruction.
Okay, let's get a little bit of pep in our step here for what could be the last round of this best-of-3 showdown, or could be the start of a bit of a clawback. Elevate. They have one more opportunity here, one more chance to try and get a lock in, and the surprise factor may be in the pockets of Onigiri. Nook. We don't see her too often, haven't really seen her in too much of this exchange. Up to the top floor, preparing themselves for a take. All the way down to kitchen, all the way down to that potential hold, where obviously they lost it before, and it was a bit of an aggressive back and forth. It was a bit of an aggressive take, and the drones are going to start wearing their way all the way. There is all of the FaZe players down inside. And I think this was a slight difference that they had before. I don't think they were fully locked in underneath on the floor.
And I think this might be a crucial change as well. Of course, we just had a lot of downtime during these, well, round 10 and 12 before they finally got started. We had a short break with round 11. But they all have to get back into that focus, and maybe the roam doesn't really work that well. Maybe you just need to stick all together close and let the Elevate work to get towards you. They have been pushed out of their rhythm as well. Time is not in their favor. And Elevate right now need to bring it back. They start to open up vertically. Be careful for C4s. There is going to be one on the board. Astro carries it together with his electric claws that have been deployed before. Trying to keep walls shut, or the hatch at this matter.
and he's playing quite close around the brown stairs here, hoping to catch one elevator player off if he goes a little bit too carelessly.
Well,
there's the first.
Nay is able to get the opener here and pre-fires for the hope of a swing of the second, but they're not going to overextend the pop there. And Cyber's keeping a tight lock on the potential of the fight here, right round on that door. There is the pressure coming down from White, and that's the blow, that's the nuke, that's the potential of a huge surprise factor, hoping to get a very sneaky pick here. But with the grenades in pocket, it's going to be the burn potentially on those ADS at first. But look at that. The other player that's just on the top of the hatch, they're looking towards that freezer control. They're getting the read that the player's not out. They still need to deal with this single player here first. We hear a bit of a burn, we hear a bit of a burst, and it's a wide swing, and there's a bit of a Jaeger. I don't know if that got caught by an ADS.
It
did, and there's an attempt at a second. That one just goes a bit over. The first spray comes through, the nuke shows up, and they're just able to connect. There's some revenge, and there's another player, the pistol. They're hunting, and they're locking down.
Onigiri with a double kill right there. We'll be starting to push Elevate through. They want to go to OT. They want to go to round 13 and potentially push us all the way over to Villa. As everything slows down a little bit here, Onigiri is going to be on that 1 HP, just a single shot, but a Sapper goes down for the plant. It seems like no one on the side is ready. No, there is, however. It is going to be a Yokai drone. Can he find it? Yes, he will, but there is a second waiting. 7 seconds. He needs to time this perfectly. It goes up, he drops it, and he moves it back up. He gets the stun, and it is FaZe. They lock it off in the end there. They did not have the manpower, but they did have 2 Yokais. And after a long time out, it is FaZe that will be able to pick themselves back up, even on 2 men down, and send Elevate home. Elevate, who have played so well today. Unfortunately, we're not able to hang on, but they can leave with their heads held high, because I believe many would not have thought they would have been making it out of the groups. And here they are.
APAC. You may at the moment be a little bit sad. There may be quite a lot of broken hearts, but remember, you also get to leave this tournament with broken records under your belt, and that is such a huge signifier of growth for a region that has completely excelled over the past year. Not just by having faces that we've seen before succeed, but having new ones be able to strike through from all of the different regions in APAC. Although it ends right now, there's still so much to take away, and I am terrified to see what you are capable of by the next SI. But FaZe, congratulations. You keep progressing on the lower bracket and keeping that Latin America flag waving. Let's see what they break about that on the desk after another quick break. I'm so sorry.